Good evening everyone, hello and welcome to the Sports Corner Live. We are back once again for another night of action in the Premier League of Darts. It's night number 5, it's the final night of action for this first batch of games. And of course, let's hope we've got plenty more action to come over the next couple of hours. Don't forget, if you are new to the stream as always, and you have enjoyed it so far in terms of the whole of the week of action, then don't forget to leave a like and a subscription. We are flying with the amount of subscribers that have been entering the building over the last few days, and it's greatly, greatly appreciated, as we will be back once again, of course, for the next batch of matches, which we will talk about a little bit later on tonight. But first of all, how are we all doing? Welcome along. As I said, this is the final night of Premier League action for this first batch of games, but of course we know today it's been quite a different situation in the UK with everything that's gone on with Prince Philip. I didn't even think today we were going to get the darts, purely because of everything that was going on with sporting events usually getting cancelled, but of course for everything that's going on there, condolences to the royal family. But we have got action tonight in the Premier League of Darts. We have got some massive, massive games on the board, and the real question is, who's going to get 2 points on the board before the very end of tonight, and we go into that big 10-day break. You can see your order of the play on the right-hand side of the screen. We will talk about that in a little moment's time, but first of all, for those of you that maybe missed the action yesterday, where were you? There was a 9-darter and a whole host of incredible moments. This was all the action that happened from yesterday's Night 4 in the Premier League of Darts. Just as we thought Night 3 was not going to be topped, Night 4 just had to go and be better, didn't it? Of course, let's take a look back at yesterday's action in the Premier League of Darts, and we started off with the pupil against the teacher, Dimitri van Bergh against Peter Wright, and these two have know each other very, very well indeed, and they played a really good match. Dimitri van Bergh once again averaging over 100, this time with 101.02. As for Peter Wright, he averaged 97.46, but his checkout success was much better than Dimitri van Bergh, although Dimmy did get the highest checkout of the night with a 160, and I think a point was well deserved for both players, and no doubt with both of them looking towards the top end of the table, will we see both of them make it, or will one of them miss out? Jonny Clayton's life in the Premier League has been pretty easy so far. He's not really been tested until Rob Cross came and gave him a real good battle last night, and well, and for being honest, I don't think really Jonny Clayton turned up at any given point in this game. In fact, when you look at the stats of the match, it was a 95.98 average for Jonny Clayton, but only 18.75% on his checkouts. As for Rob Cross, you've got to say in this tournament he's been slowly etching out results, and he's looked really, really comfortable so far, once again averaging 97.01. He has one of the highest tournament averages overall, only with a 35% success on checkouts, but when your opponent's struggling, it was quite a good result tonight for Rob Cross. Just how far can Cross go in the Premier League? And this was the match that defined Night 4 by a country mile. Jose de Souza, record breaker and 9-darter hero in a brilliant game against Nathan Aspinall. And first of all, let's talk about Aspinall quickly. I think he will be very, very happy with a point on the board, considering how well Jose de Souza played today. But you've got to think, in that last match Jose de Souza was up against Jonny Clayton, he averaged 108, and he continued that in fine style tonight with a 100.95 average. He equalled the record for the most 180s in a match, 11, alongside the record that Gary Anderson broke a few years ago, but only Jose de Souza could go and miscount it in the first leg and then go and get a 9-darter in the second. He's a very, very special player, and somehow he's only on 2 points after Night 4 in the Premier League. The machine finally arrives in the Premier League of Darts after a massive 7-3 victory against Michael van Gerwen, who never really turned up on the night. And no doubt the bookies, who will have already scooped some money back from Rob Cross's win, will have probably destroyed a hell of a lot of ACCAs after MVG's defeat. And when Wade came out in his interview afterwards, he said that he wasn't really happy with his performance, but a 95.79 average and a 53.85 checkout success is certainly good enough to beat Michael van Gerwen, who only averaged 90.91 on the night with a 27.27% checkout success.
As for James Wade, it's a brilliant start to the Premier League. He's got Glen Durrant tonight, and he might be able to end the first week of action on 5 points. However, for Michael van Gerwen, he had a real opportunity tonight to go to the top end of the table and have a bit of a distance between the rest of the pack. Is he going to be able to get that distance tonight? And finally, the last game of night number 4 saw Gary Anderson in a 7-2 win against Glen Durrant, and the rock continues for the defending Premier League champion, who still sits at the bottom of the table with 0 points. And for Gary Anderson, it was a pretty easy result on the night. The first 4 or 5 sets, it looked like Glen Durrant was actually going to maybe have a chance with Gary Anderson slipping up. But in the end, with 4 180s, a 58.33% checkout success, and a 97.56 average. Even Gary Anderson had a laugh, saying he wished he got over 100 on his average. But for Glen Durrant, an 87.9 average and a 40% checkout success doesn't look too bad, but again, he just couldn't get into the game on the night. And if the Premier League champion doesn't get any points on the board tonight, you feel like his campaign might already be over after the first week. So that's all the action from night number 4 in the Premier League of Darts. We've got one more night to go. Just who is going to get 1 or 2 points on the board and in the first week in style or in misery? Let's get underway with night 5 of the Premier League of Darts.
So that is a look at some of the games from yesterday. I think it was a fantastic day overall. We've got that 9-darter from Jose de Souza, which was a fantastic moment indeed. Of course, we will look at that table in a little moment's time to see how everybody is doing so far as we enter night number 5. But for those of you that missed it, Jose de Souza, after miscounting with his first leg, then went into the second leg and got himself a 9-darter. Of course, he's the only man that would go and do that, wouldn't he? Here's a look at the reaction from yesterday because, well, it was an incredible moment. And another 9-darter, 2 in 2 now. That miscounts as much as he does. But he smacks in a 180. And that's 3 180s in the space of 2 legs from de Souza. How about another 9-darter chance? That'll make up for the miscount a few moments ago. As Miko says he wants Dimitri to win, which I'd love Dimitri to win it. That would be nice to have a debut to win it again. But is it 4 treble 20s? Is it 5 treble 20s? Is it 6 treble 20s? He's up for it again! Come on, de Souza! He's got a second chance to hit the 9-darter now. Oh, here we go. This is a brilliant start as Aspinall smacks in a 180 of his own. Come on, de Souza. Stop it. Needs the 60. Gets it. 57. Double 12 for 9-darter again! Yes! It's another one! It's a 9-darter again! It's 2! Out of 2 nights! And he's this time Jose de Souza. He's brilliant! Oh! Cannot believe we've got 2 in a row. Unbelievable. He couldn't count 5 minutes ago, but he could count this time. And it's another 9-darter. Can you believe it? It's moments like that, isn't it, in the Premier League that make darts so special. What a moment it was for de Souza, especially coming off the back of that 9-darter, which Jonny Clayton hit just a few days. In fact, it was only a day before de Souza hit his. But look, we've got lots of action to come tonight, and both players are actually coming out already for this game, which is quite quick. I wasn't expecting that. And our first game tonight is going to see Gary Anderson up against Jonny Clayton. The Ferret yesterday, finding himself in a really bad match against Rob Cross, struggled big time. As for Gary Anderson, good win yesterday against Glen Durrant. And you always feel like with Gary Anderson, it's a case of he's kind of 1 minute away from exploding and getting 100+ averages on the board. But I don't think we've personally seen the very best of Gary Anderson as of yet. And I think we're still waiting for that big quality Gary Anderson performance. But let's quickly look at the table. I have got my prediction, but I'm not going to lie, I don't think we're going to actually have time to be able to go into that prediction because the game's going to start in a second. But looking at the table as it stands, we'll go through it every single match. Gary Anderson currently sat in 6th. He's on 5 points along with Rob Cross, Clayton, Van Gerwen and Aspinall. He does actually have a chance here to go to the top of the table, as does Jonny Clayton. However, look, at the end of the day, if either of those 2 players comes out with 6 or 7 points in this match, I think both would be very, very happy with how they've started this Premier League campaign, because that bottom end of the table, they're starting to run away with things, aren't they? The rest of the guys in the top half. But just want to go through the chat as I always do. I haven't said hello to all of you guys today. Hopefully you're doing all well on what has been a pretty interesting day in the world. Not just in darts, of course. But Zavix, how are you doing? Hope you're all good, my friend. Chris is in the building as always. Stephen says, good evening, mate. Hope we'll be having a few gins to commemorate. It's only fair. Well, there we go. We've got 5 tonight. We've got plenty of gins in the building. As you would expect this game to be quite a corker between Gary Anderson and Jonny Clayton with how they've both started off. But we'll have to find out as the game does get underway. George Noble is our referee for this match. Let me just sort my camera out. There we go. Zavik saying hopefully Durrant wins his game tonight. Hopefully. It would be nice to see Durrant get something on the board, and I think everybody in the Premier League is praying that he can get just a point at minimum on the board before the first batch of Premier League games end. Kyle, how are you doing? He's put, hey Josh and all, how are you? We'll only stay until 8 as I will be watching a match, then may return afterwards if that game becomes trash. Enjoyed the darts all. Thank you very much, Kyle. Hope you're all good today, my friend. I'm doing fantastic. Brockle's in the building as well. It says, good evening. Looking forward to another great evening of darts. Last night was amazing. Let's hope that tonight can be even better. I mean, for it to be better, we need a 9-darter and probably either another one or a 170 finish. So make of that what you will. Let's hope we can have a good night overall again. And then Chloe's in the building. She's put, hello again. After hearing about the matches tonight, I'm really looking forward to them. Hopefully the players won't disappoint me. Hopefully we get a good night tonight. For me, I expect these games... I don't expect any draws tonight. I think everybody has to be in the mood of, look, let me just get those last 2 points on the board before we go into that break and put myself in a really good position. And hopefully we do get that tonight. As Daz is in the building as always. How are you doing, Daz? He's put 7-3 Anderson. As Jonny Clayton takes the lead in this game. 1-0 to the Ferret. Checking out. I'm not going to lie, I didn't get to see what the checkout was there for a second. I think he got it on the double 17 in the end. But Chris predicting tonight 7-4 Anderson. As the Buchanan report says, glad to have enough to drink tonight. Well, I've got plenty tonight. I had to, again, go out and restock. And luckily, because it's the last night, I didn't have to go out there and restock massively. Because I get a 10-day break to recharge the batteries again. But we've got enough tonight to get us through the last night. And hopefully you've got your drinks as well, because it should be a good night overall. But I think we should be thankful today that the darts has been allowed to continue on. Of course, with everything that's been going on in the UK specifically today, it's been a day of mourning, I guess, with the whole royal family situation. And usually sporting events do get cancelled. And I was wondering whether the darts was going to be one of those that maybe was on the chopping block for today, and it isn't. And I don't think that, in fact, any of the sporting events have been cancelled, which is quite surprising. But, of course, with these times, it's so different. But hopefully, we get a great night overall, as Chris has put, the good thing for Van den Bergh, he already played MVG and Wright, which is very true. Get those out of the way nice and early on, and you put yourself in a very good position. As Kyle's put, I'm grand, cheers, Josh. Good to hear, Kyle. That 9-dart reaction was great. We'll never get all that clip. Well, hopefully we get a few more tonight, because 3 9-darters in 3 days would be quite the incredible night, wouldn't it? There'll be another one on the board. As looking at the rest of the chat. Piers Connery, how you doing, my friend? He's put, come on, Jonny. Hoping Clayton can get back into prime position again in the Premier League. And then Buchanan reports put, looking forward to another great announcement by you tonight. Well, hopefully we might be an announcement of a 9-darter, but 2-0 here to Jonny Clayton. And it's a really good start here for the Ferret. As Gary Anderson, again for me, just hasn't really got going in this game so far. It's been quite a slow burner for the Scot. And for a lot of the season so far, and I know we're only, 5 nights in overall, as Clayton looked at the first 118 dozen, it has been a bit of a slow burner, hasn't it, for Gary Anderson? I said before this game started, I don't think we've seen a vintage Gary Anderson performance yet. Struggled a little bit in those first 5 as 6 legs against Durrant. and then he got a foothold of the match. But there'll be some fire in the belly tonight for Clayton after that result against Rob Cross. I'm going to be thinking, if I can go 3 legs up on Gary Anderson here, I'm going to be in the right position to maybe even take the 2 points home and get this game done fairly quickly. But Audio Murphy's in the building. How are we doing, my friend? Welcome along to the stream. Hope you're all good. As Johnny Clayton hits a 140 and gets himself down to 140. As close as I would predict that we will get a miscount. 2 9-darters. That's bold, but I like it. 9 180s for one player and a 170 finish tonight. I mean, if we get that tonight, Chloe, it is probably going to be one of the best nights of darts that we've had of the year, if not for quite some time. I mean, the Boyle Sports, I think, was it the World Grand Prix, where we had the night where Dimmy Vandenberg and Whitlock's games went all the way to the last leg? That was a night and a half. But I think that would certainly top it, wouldn't it? As Chris has put, no need for sporting events to be cancelled, in my opinion. I won't go into it tonight, of course, with respects, but I do understand why people are a little bit frustrated with how the media's covered stuff, but that's how they've always done it, I guess, and I don't think that will change for some time, as Gary Anderson does get a leg on the board. 7-7 to make it 2-1 in this game. And Gary Anderson gets himself on the board, which was detrimental, I feel, in this early stage of the match. And for those of you wondering, Gary Anderson only averaging 85 right now to Johnny Clayton's 99. It's a very sloppy start from Gary Anderson. And he needs to get into some rhythm soon. I mean, even then, as he's won that first leg to his name, he's already quite frustrated. Although, Johnny Clayton here gets the first 180 of the night. And that is our first one of this game. I will be looking to use 180s in the future, maybe to do some little giveaways. When we come back, of course, in 10 days' time. I'm looking to continue to improve these streams, get you guys on board, get some interaction in the building. But Johnny Clayton here, off to a real good start. Really comfortable in this game. And you feel if Gary Anderson doesn't get his scoring up fairly soon here, then Clayton could win this by 7-2, 7-3. Maybe even better if he can get himself on a good run. As Chris Welch has said, he thinks tonight Vandenberg is going to hit a 9-darter to make all 3 debutants hit the 9-darter. And with the way it's panned out, you would expect Aspinall to hit it tonight, because it always tends to be the player that it's been hit against has then gone on and hit it. So Aspinall against MVG is where the 9-darter's happening. As Clayton hits the double 12 here, and it's 3-1 to Johnny Clayton. And what a brilliant performance this is so far from the Ferret. As Daz has said, I think he had a bet on tonight. I've got a bet on tonight. In fact, I've got a few bets on the board. So I predicted tonight every player to hit 3 180s. Probably not going to happen, is it? Although saying that, Johnny Clayton hits his second, which is also the second of the game. Can that get Gary Anderson into 180 mode as well? The answer is yes. There's one for Gary Anderson. And we're now up to 3 180s in this game, as Johnny Clayton was on for a 9-darter opportunity, but didn't hit treble 20 with his fourth dart. But, I mean, Chris says, will Josh's reaction be even better with a 9-darter tonight? The worry is, we don't want to get too greedy with the 9-darters. Do you know what I mean? We don't want to be sat here expecting every single treble 20 opportunity to eventually land into 9-darters. And I know we had the conversation yesterday, didn't we, about how, especially now, as Gary Anderson has a chance here to make it 3-2 and doesn't, we're seeing a lot more 9-darters without crowds there, especially on the Pro Tours. And hopefully, we can maybe have 1 or 2 more before the end of the competition. We've got another 12 nights on the board. And you just feel with the standard of this Premier League and the way it started, that certainly everybody can hit it. As Gary Anderson makes it 3-2 in the game, checks out on double 10, and he's keeping himself in the match here. It's not been the best of starts for Anderson, but he just gets himself into a decent position to stay in this game, as Johnny Clayton's going to start off with a 1-2-1 with his first 3 darts of this 6th leg. And fair play to Anderson. He's got his average back up here. He's around about the 96 mark now. As Daz says, it's Russ and George tonight, the two referees. I thought it was. We haven't seen any of Paul Hinks or Kirk Bevins, so I assume maybe it's a case of maybe the next batch of matches, Russ and George get a break, and then Kirk and Paul do the rest of the matches for the second batch, so they're alternating referees all the time, because I guess you only ever need 2 when there's 5 games on. There's chance here for another 180 for Clayton, which he doesn't get. But he's up now to 101 on the average. And very, very nice indeed. Got a real good rhythm and flow to his game so far. As Chloe says, I would still love every player to have a 9-darter in this year's Premier League. We can hope, we can dream of a few 9-darters on the board. As I say, I think we're very lucky to have 2 already. And we'll have to see as the night continues on whether that happens or not. As Brockle has, and I think this is a very, very fair point. I hope they don't slip in form when the crowds come back. I wonder if it will be a little bit of a shock, as there's a chance here for Clayton to check out 116 at tops, and he just hits 20. So a chance here for Gary Anderson to check out 157, which he's not going to be able to do. But I think that's a very fair point to make. I wonder if there'll be a bit of a shock to the system for some players when the crowds come back. And I know players like Gerwyn Price will be happy when fans are back, because they're so used to it, as Clayton takes a 4-2 lead in this game now. But it will be a little bit of a reality shock, especially I think when you've got so used to the mindset of not having fans in the building. As Gary Anderson gets another 180 on the board. That's his second of the game, and he might be on for a 9-darter opportunity. And, well, we asked for a 9-darter. It'd be nice for Gary to get one. But, yeah, I think he's a very fair point that players could just maybe those first few weeks or few days to have a bit of a shock to the system when fans do come back. But, look, I think it will be a slow tearing of fans coming back. I don't think, and as much as I want it to be in July, a case of the stadiums being full again. I think somehow with the way that our government is and the way that COVID's been right now, there's a chance for another 180 here, and Gary gets it. And that's 3 apiece on the 180s in this game. That's apparently there's only 5 in the match. I thought we had 6. No, we've only got 5. So Clayton's got 2, 180s, and Anderson's got 3 now. But there will be a few people who will have a bit of a reality shock when fans do come back. As you would expect here, Gary Anderson to take this next leg on the board. He's down to 8 with Clayton back at 216. Chris saying when crowds come back, I expect Price, MVG, Wright to be at their consistent dominant levels, as Clayton now gets his third 180 on the board, but he won't have a chance to check out, as Gary Anderson makes it 4-3, and Clayton is just 1 leg ahead of the Scot, who's now averaging 98. And this is certainly turning into a much better game as it continues on. And Gary just starting to get back into this match now. And really starting to hit the treble 20 bed as well. And I think for Clayton here, he'll be thinking, well, why did he not capitalise on the early few moments in the game where Gary was averaging around about 85? As Daz has asked, they're allowing crowds... Oh no, he's saying they're allowing crowds in. Yeah, they are, aren't they? I think for the Euros, they said Wembley's going to have 25% capacity. As Gary Anderson hits another 180. That's now his 5th of the match. And that is the most subtle 180 I've ever heard from George Noble. Didn't bellow that one out, did he? That was a really quiet one. But Gary now got his scoring boots on here. Is it the right time in the game for him to just claw his way back into it and maybe win it? We'll have to see. But, I mean, in terms of the crowds at the darts, you know, it's not going to get 25,000 people there. So I guess we're lucky to a certain extent that because there's a low amount of crowds, we might actually have near to full attendances back. But let's hope the future tournaments, maybe not the World Match Play, but when we get to the back end of the year and the Grand Slam of darts and the all the Boyle Sports tournaments, the Ladbrokes Players Championship can have much larger crowds back. And then, of course, the one we all want is a full capacity for the World Championship next year, because It was nice to watch fans back for that first night, but it just wasn't the same, was it? As Clayton has a chance here to check out double 18 and make it 5-3 in this game and get back a 2-leg advantage over the Scot. But he's got one dart left at double 18 here, and he doesn't get it. So a chance now for Gary Anderson to make it 4 legs apiece and get himself back into this match. A double 5 with 2 darts in hand. And as I always say, 1 is all he needs. And it's 4-4 in this game now. And the scoring and finishing boots are on for Gary Anderson, who's now averaging in this game. Well, that's a lie. I think the averages on here are horribly wrong. But he is currently 31% on his doubles. Clayton 25% on his doubles. This is saying Gary Anderson's averaging 91, which I can tell you something. He's surely not averaging that. As Jonny Clayton smacks in another 180. That's 8 now for this game, and both players certainly are doing very well to hit the treble 20 section of the bed. As Stephen asked in the chat, the real question is, will Durrant win a game this Premier League? With the way he started, no. You'd say no right now, but I think all he needs is that one result, whether it be a draw or a win within itself, and it might just give Durrant that boost of confidence. And look, I think if he doesn't win tonight, he will probably be thinking in his head he's out of this competition. But if he can get a win on the board in this game against James Wade, it would be a massive, massive confidence booster. And to have that 10-day break, maybe he'd feel like it's come at the worst time. But then I think he'd also think it's come at the best time. So he has that confidence for when he comes back. As Jonny Clayton makes it 5-4 in this game. Checks out the 41 on 16. And it was right in the bottom right-hand corner of the bed. It was really hard to tell whether it had actually hit the 16 or the 7. But it did hit the 16, Jonny. And it is 5-4 in this game. As Gary Anderson even had to take his glasses off a second and see if it had gone in. Daz says they will let crowds in at the snooker. Yeah, they're looking to get crowds in at the snooker. I think the way that they're looking to do it is, I think they're slowly tiering it, so it'll start off with a lower capacity, and then as they get later on in the competition, it will get there'll be more and more in the crowd. So by the final, it will be full capacity, which is going to be the first actual sports test of having a full crowd in the stadium. Which the positive is with snooker being backed by Barry Hearn, that does give us a real confidence booster to the fact that maybe darts could be one of those that gets fans back. But we'll have to see. There's a long way to go with COVID right now. As Joran Paulus has put Fake Link, I put in the title specifically tonight, my friend, as I always do, that it's a watch along. So as I said, I always like to say at the beginning of the stream, we don't show the games in here because of copyright, which is why I put it as a watch along. But there's no links in the chat to any streams. As I said, we like to be honest and to the point that we're not here to copyright infringe, and we're here to do watch-alongs as Jonny Clayton smacks in his 5th 180 of this game, and that's the 9th of this match. But a chance for Gary Anderson to check out the 167, which he won't be able to do. And Clayton now with a chance to check out 81 for a guaranteed point. Treble 19, double 12 needed. Gets a 19, gets 12. He's got one dart at the bull, which hits the outer bull, and a chance for Gary here to get a 5 all game with a check out of 68. Is it treble 5, which is a happy accident because it leaves one dart at tops. Can he take it? No, he can't. And now a chance here for Jonny Clayton with 2 darts at double 8 to make it 6-4, and as I said earlier, guarantee that point in this match. As Kyle's asked, correct me if I'm wrong, but going by that league table you showed earlier, is it 2 points for a win, 1 for a draw? It is indeed, as Jonny Clayton guarantees himself a point in this game. And now Gary Anderson is going to have to win the next 2 on the bounce to guarantee himself a point, or else Jonny Clayton will be ending the first 5 nights in his Premier League debut in quite some style. Brilliant, brilliant start to his campaign. And he might be on here for a 180, which is what he gets. And that's another one in this game, and we're now up to double figures in this match. That's 10 180s and 6 for Jonny Clayton. And Gary is having a good night again. Even a draw will do. He'll need to get the 2 legs on the board, that's for sure. It's going to be quite tough for him here, isn't it? To try and get 2 legs back from a Jonny Clayton that is on fire right now in this Premier League. But yes, unlike football, it's not 3 points for a win, which I don't get. It baffles me at the fact that you don't get 3 points for a win in these Premier League games. And I think a lot of people were saying as well, they wish it was just a 13-leg match, so we were guaranteed a winner in every game. But I don't mind the draws. That's what you want to see. As apparently we've got... Oh, wow, we've got 118 people in here right now. Thank you very much to everybody that is joining us. Welcome along to the Sports Corner, the home of sports watch-alongs. We've got the Premier League of Darts tonight. Some big games coming up in football at the weekend, including El Clasico with myself. And then we will be back with the Premier League of Darts in 10 days' time. So do stick around if you enjoy the content. Because we always drink on stream. We've got 5 cans of gin tonight, so we'll probably get absolutely rat-faced by the end of the evening. But chance here for Clayton to win the game on double 16 with 3 darts in hand. And 2 darts is all Clayton needs, and the ferret is firing in the Premier League. And what a victory that is to respond to yesterday's disappointing result against Rob Cross, to go out there and come up against Gary Anderson, who was certainly giving him a game and a half. But in the end, Jonny Clayton, with a really, really good performance, gets a 7-4 victory on the night. And he's on some form right now. And because it's the first game of the evening, he will go to the top of the table, which is fantastic for Ferret. As Victor's asked the chat, are you watching live or a little delayed? I'm watching it on Now TV, so it is a little bit delayed in comparison to if I was to watch it on normal TV. So I am about, I'd have probably said about 20 seconds behind. And even with the scoreboard as well, the scoreboard is a little bit further ahead than my stream. So I do apologise about that. But you guys, you get to see what happens before I do. So if there's a 9-darter, you know that there's going to be a reaction coming, so you can turn your volume down on your phones or your laptops for a second. But what a win overall there for Jonny Clayton. We said tonight, Gary Anderson, that first 4 legs, he was really poor, and he was just allowed... I think Jonny Clayton could have easily come out of this game, 7-2, 7-1 with how he started. But he improved in the match, plenty of 180s on the board as well with 12. And a really, really good game overall. So that is the first match of the night done. Don't forget, we've got more games to come over the rest of the evening. In fact, we've got 4 more games. Wright versus Cross is the next game up. Both players playing really, really well last night. And I'm intrigued to see whether Rob Cross can continue going on his business and getting a few more results on the board. Van Gerwen is up against Aspinall. That is a fantastic game. Aspinall, fantastic performance against Souza yesterday. Somehow getting a point against a man who hit 11 180s and a 9-darter. But he did. And now he's going to go into that game against Van Gerwen full of confidence, especially with MVG struggling after yesterday's... It was terrible, wasn't it, against James Wade? Talk about James Wade. Glen Durrant. Look at that. What a match that's going to be. James Wade been brilliant so far in this competition. Massive result last night against James Wade. As for Glen Durrant, we know he's been struggling big time in this competition. The question is, can he get a victory on the board? And, well, at least a point would probably be good enough for him. And then finally, of course, Dimitri van Bergh against Jose de Souza, 2 of the most informed players in this competition. And it's mad that I'm even saying that, because de Souza has only got 2 points. But after averaging 108 and 101 in his last 2 games, could he maybe beat Dimitri van Bergh? We'll have to find out. But don't forget, I don't want to say too much tonight because I feel like I say a hell of a lot. But if you are new to the stream, please don't forget to leave a like and subscription. If you are new to the channel, it is greatly, greatly appreciated. For those of you maybe not knowing what we do on this channel, basically we are the Sports Corner. It's not just me. There's a whole team of us that do a whole host of live sporting watch-alongs for big major events. We've got a big week of action coming up, including El Clasico. Here's a look at what's to come on the channel over the week and the weekend. Coming up this week on the Sports Corner, we've got a whole range of content, including wrestling based around WrestleMania, so do keep your eyes out on the channel for all of the content Rowan's uploading this week. And talking about Rowan, he'll be back on Saturday morning for Adelaide United
taking on Western Sydney Wanderers on A-League Saturdays. Saturday night, I'll be live from 7:55 for El Clasico. It is going to be a fantastic game as the title race begins to get closer and closer. And then Champions League action on Tuesday. Chelsea with a 2-0 lead over Porto, and PSG 3-2 up on Bayern, but who will win, we'll have to find out. Same on Wednesday night. Dortmund currently 2-1 down to Man City, and Liverpool 3-1 down to Real Madrid, who will come out on top with the second leg of quarter-final action coming up on Thursday. That's your week on the Sports Corner.
So that's a look at some of the content to come. A little bit of a quieter weekend on the channel. The reason why is because we've had all the Premier League of darts going on. It will be a little bit more quiet. But as I said before, Rowan, over the week, if you're a big wrestling fan, there's going to be a lot of wrestling content going up based around WrestleMania. So do keep your eyes out for that. And then, of course, Saturday night, I will be back. I don't take breaks around here. I'm non-stop. Honestly, I'm like the Duracell bunny. Ridiculous amounts of energy. El Clasico tomorrow. What a game that's going to be. Real Madrid-Barcelona. I feel like that game is winner takes all for the title, whoever wins that match. But that's some of the content to come over the week. Let's talk about that game that we just witnessed between Gary Anderson and Jonny Clayton, because we said yesterday the Ferret didn't play amazingly well against Rob Cross. In fact, that result for Rob Cross was now looking like a little bit of a blip, as Chris has just said in the chat, and I completely agree with him, because tonight he got himself back onto pretty good form. And a really good result overall. And of course, he goes to the top of the table with 7 points. Gary Anderson in 6th on 5 points. He'll be hoping that the likes of Rob Cross, Van Gerwen do drop points so he can stay lingering around that pack that can get into the top 4. But when we look at the stats of the game, there were 10 180s in the match, 6 for Jonny Clayton and 4 for Gary Anderson. Really, really good overall there. As for the averages, 97.31 for Jonny Clayton. And according to Flash Score, only 92.61 for Gary Anderson, which I'd be quite surprised if that's true. I feel like that's wrong, and I would have assumed Gary Anderson would have averaged maybe around 95, 96. But I'm going to go with the Flash Score stats, and that says it's a 92. And it doesn't really matter, because when you look at the checkouts success, 35% for Jonny Clayton, that's 7 out of 20 on his doubles. And as for Gary Anderson, I feel like we've reverted back to night 1 again. 28.57%, and that's 4 out of 14 on the doubles. It's one of those where I'm going to keep saying it. We haven't seen the best of Gary Anderson yet. There's a long, long way to go in this competition, and he's well in with the pack to finish in the top 4 as it stands, but we just haven't seen a vintage performance from the Scot, and my worry is this Gary Anderson's kind of level? Do you know what I mean? It's hard to put into words in terms of maybe we're not going to see a Gary Anderson performance, because this is kind of roughly the level he's playing at right now, and this is maybe Gary Anderson's B game at best. But look, as much as I can sit there and say not a great performance tonight for Gary Anderson, it's a big, big result for Jonny Clayton, who must be feeling really, really happy with himself, because I don't think he would have expected to have been on 7 points after 5 nights in the Premier League, but he is, and he's well up there with the rest of the pack in contention to maybe even finish in the top 4 and find himself with a spot to maybe win the Premier League. So that is the Gary Anderson game, and I was right, 95 average for Gary Anderson. Flash Score's got it horribly wrong tonight, and I don't know why. It's really, really bad. But I have got a bet on tonight. I put Aspinall and Souza to win for 300 quid, so I need Aspinall to win, and I need Souza to win, and that will get me some money back in the bank. But let's move on to the next game of the evening now. What a game this one's going to be. 2 players that have played very, very well so far in this competition. And let me see if I can get it up on the screen for you. There we go. It's going to be Peter Wright against Rob Cross. And we watched Peter Wright yesterday in his game against Dimitri van den Bergh, which, I said it was the pupil versus the teacher, and neither player was schooled with the 6-6 draw. But Rob Cross going about his business really, really quietly in this tournament, and I think, and I'm not gonna lie, be honest in the chat, how many of you guys sat there, maybe in your predictions or in your head, how many of you guys sat there and went, I think Rob Cross is going to get relegated? Do tell me in the chat, because I'd be intrigued to see how many of you guys sat there and were like, Rob Cross will be in the bottom 2, or Rob Cross will finish at the bottom. I'm intrigued in that respect, because nobody expected Rob Cross to come out and play this well. I think there is the odd probably person out there, maybe the Rob Cross fans, that expected him to do quite good in this competition, but he's given it a really good go. I don't think, in my personal opinion, he's had a bad game so far. The only bad one was that game against MVG, but that was a match where MVG averaged 107, and Rob Cross averaged around about 97, which is the level that he's kind of been at for the majority of this tournament. And as Chris has put, he says Cross may not be playing his A game, but he's winning games. And exactly, that is working for him right now. And I don't know when we're going to see his A game, if we will see it in this tournament. But if he's winning with his B game, then what's his A game like? You know, he said in his interview yesterday, after his match, he was like, I know I'm not playing at my A game right now, but, you know, those averages of 100 plus, I can get that. And I think tonight, if he wants to beat Wright, he's going to have to play his A game. It just all depends on which Peter Wright turns up, which we'll see in a few moments' time. But as we've always done throughout the competition, I made my predictions for these matches in the tournament before the competition even started. What I am going to do is, the next time we're live with the next Premier League games, I will tally up all my predictions and see how many I got right from the first 5 nights. But this was my prediction a few days ago for the Peter Wright Rob Cross game. Question is, who did I back? I've got a feeling I went Peter Wright. Let's find out. Game number 2 now, and it is one of the first opportunities of the night for one of the top 3 players to go out there and get themselves a big victory on the board. And the first player up on the night is Peter Wright, and he's up against Rob Cross. I've gone for a 7-5 win for Peter Wright, although I'm not going to lie, depending on what happens throughout this tournament, you know, we've had 4 days now of action. There'll be players in form, players out of form. I'm recording this a few days, as I said, before the tournament started, so I've got no idea who is in form and who isn't. I think Peter Wright could win this even more convincingly. I think he could win it 7-4, 7-3. It all depends on what happens. You know, I sat there yesterday or the day before and I said Rob Cross was going to beat Jonny Clayton 7-4 or 7-5. Might have got that prediction horribly wrong. Might have got it incredibly correct. But I think Rob Cross will be at the back end of the table. He'll be a little bit worried maybe after these first 5 nights of action that he's not got many points on the board. And, well, in a Premier League where realistically no game's an easy one, I think he's got a very tough game to end his first little batch of action, and that's why I think Peter Wright is going to win 7-5. I would expect Peter Wright to be coming in with a little bit of form and a little bit of class, and I think he'll show that tonight in his game against Rob Cross. Do put your predictions in the chat for this game, and without further ado, let's go into game number 2 of the final night of the Premier League of Darts. I mean, I was listening to my prediction back there because, as I said, I haven't actually tallied down what I put. So I've got no idea what I've said over the week, and my lord, I couldn't be any more wrong, could I? I'm pretty sure I said there that Peter Wright's going to absolutely batter Rob Cross. And look, I said to you guys in the chat, there's a few of you, you're putting your hands up and saying, look, I said that Rob Cross was going to finish bottom. Chris said I expected him to finish bottom. Chloe saying I did think about Cross getting relegated, I have to admit. It's one of those where I think a lot of people expected it. And it can still happen. There's a long way to go. Let's not get too carried away and say that Rob Cross is safe. But look, if he's going to win this game tonight, he's going to have to put a good performance in. Maybe not what I was saying a minute ago before I predicted it last week. I don't think he's going to get battered. But you never know with Peter Wright. The snakebite is a strange one. And who knows what's going to happen tonight. But Osti van Osterman is in the building. He's put, bonjour, my old China. How are we doing, my friend? Hope you're all good. And even he said, no offence to Rob Cross, but I thought Jonny was going to win it last night. And I think a lot of people were thinking the same. I thought the same. I predicted Jonny Clayton to win. And I think that was the one result that everybody was quite surprised about. And there's still time for Rob Cross to add a few more shockers to his name and surprise the world number 3. But we're going to get underway with this game in a moment. It's mad to say, isn't it, that a game where the world number 3 and the world number 5 are playing against each other, the world number 3 is the favourite by quite a margin. It just shows you the difference between the top 3 and everybody else downwards. It's incredible, isn't it? But do put your predictions in the chat. We've got a few of them coming in now. Daz saying Russ is the ref, which he's indeed. Chris putting 7-5 to Cross. That's my punt of the night again. We'll have to see whether you do get that punt correct. Brockle is going for Wright to win 7-4. And Kyle is also going 7-4. So let's see what happens in this game. Once again, for those of you maybe jumping in and you're new to the stream, we're not showing the games in here tonight because of copyright reasons. Unfortunately, we can't show them or else our channel will just get booted off YouTube. So if you do want to watch it, if you're in the UK, if you don't know by now, it is on Sky Sports Action. If you're living abroad, it's on pdc.tv. You can buy a match pass for a small fee. Or there is other sources as well where you could watch the game that I'm not going to say, but you'll know. You are literally on one right now where somebody will probably be streaming it illegally, but there's your hint. So underway with this game now between Peter Wright and Rob Cross. This is going to be an interesting one. I need three. Remember, I actually need 3 180s from both players here. I put £1 on today for every player to hit 3 180s, which isn't going to probably happen with Durrant. But look, for £250 return, why not give it a go? Apparently, Van Osterman said I thought they weren't doing it on PDC TV. I think they still are. I think somebody was saying today that they in the UK they bought a pass so they could watch it, but because they're in the UK, they're not showing it on there. So I don't know if it's changed or not. Because I don't know, on the first few nights they were. But unless they've changed it over the last few nights, I don't really know, to be fair. Maybe they have, and it's not on there anymore, which in that case, then there are other sources which are on right now that will be streaming it. There's apparently a new set for Peter Wright. These are darts that we haven't seen, and he was asked in one of his interviews quite recently about the amount of darts he's brought. But look at the flexibility on these darts. It's quite satisfying to watch, actually. You see how the darts ricochet. Well, not ricochet, but they wobble about every time that they hit the bed. It's quite aesthetically pleasing to watch. But I wonder if they're going to work for him tonight. We've seen him over the last few days use the same barrel that he was using at the when he won the World Championship. But I'm wondering if tonight, after that result Rob Cross got yesterday, whether he's maybe just thinking change it up a bit. I mean, Chloe's made a fair point. When doesn't Wright change his darts, you're not wrong, isn't it? He never likes to stick with one set of darts at the very least. But these are just aesthetically pleasing darts to watch as they wobble about. I mean, I always feel like they're going to fall out the board because of the wobble, but very, very slow game, or very slow start, as Rob Cross is down to 160 here. Peter Wright down at 116. He's going to have the advantage as Rob Cross doesn't check out the 160. He will be coming back, potentially a check out of 96 if Peter Wright doesn't check out the 116, which he won't. So Rob Cross will be coming back. As Van Osterman says, Wright's like me. Loves to change a set of darts every day. How often do you play Van Osterman? Because I know you tend to play quite a bit of darts. I've had to take a break because, as you all know, and it's a consistent update, my dartboard is ruined. I am going to buy one in a few days, as Rob Cross checks out the 96 on 88, and we're off to a very nice start indeed. But I am going to get a new board and some new darts. But how often do you play Van Osterman? And for anybody else as well in the stream, how often do you tend to play darts? Are you somebody that plays for an hour or 2 hours a day? Or do you dedicate 4 or 5 hours a night, let's say, into trying to get as much darting practice as you possibly can? As there's a chance here for the first 180. And there it is. 180 for Peter Wright. And that is the first 180 of this game. That is the 11th of the night. Something which we're going to incorporate to the stream next time we're live, which will be the 19th of April. We'll talk about that a little bit later on, with how everything's going on with the next batch of matches. But Van Osterman saying, every day I have a lot of bounce outs though, because my darts is mashed up. I get bounce outs all the time, it's a nightmare. Cloud Kaiser, how are you doing, buddy? He's put, I practice around 3 hours a night. I guess it depends, doesn't it, really? If you've got time on your hands. I know there'll be a lot of people out there with jobs and stuff, so it's a bit harder to practice. But I usually I'll have a game or two a day. Sometimes I'll play for like 2 hours, maybe more. It depends on what mood I'm in. Dartboard is mashed up. It can't be more mashed up than mine is, Osti. Mine is an absolute mess right now. I tell you, when the next board comes, that one is going straight away. As Chris says, I play for 2 to 3 hours a day. I take weekends off, which is fair, because when the footy's on, you want to watch it. Chance here for Wright, check out 116 on tops, which he doesn't. Maybe a chance here for Rob Cross to go 2-0 up. If you can check out the 118. And something... I'm going to stop for a second, though, because he has got the treble 18 here. So treble 14, double 11. Gets treble 14. Double 11 for a 118 and a 2-0 lead. Oh, that's saucy. Rob Cross. I was literally about to say he's been in a bit of a scrap, you could say, with Wayne Mardle. Wayne Mardle coming out on Sky Sports, and I've said it myself. I'm not going to lie. I've said it in the past that sometimes when he pauses, you always wonder if that puts him off his game a little bit. But I don't know if anybody hasn't seen the interview or not. But after his match last night, one of the interviewees asked him about his pause and is he going to continue it on, or will he listen to Wayne Mardle and change it up? And he came back yesterday, and I think he said something along the lines of, Wayne Mardle doesn't pay my bills, so he doesn't really have a right to give his opinion. And until he starts paying my bills, then I'm not going to listen to a word he says, as Peter Wright hits a 140. And I understand his point to a certain extent. You know, at the end of the day, Wayne Mardle is there as a pundit, and he has to tactically analyse what these darts players are doing. And that's his job at the end of the day. And I feel some people say sometimes Wayne Mardle's very, very picky. He always has something or a gripe against every player. But that's his job. You know, he's there to analyse players and how they perform, and that's just one of the things he's noted down. And he came out yesterday and said, you know, if he's not paying my bills, so he doesn't have a right to speak. And look, I understand why Cross does the pause. I think sometimes it does help him out. That was a prime example there, where he was just able to step back and then check out the 118. But what are your guys' stance on that? Do you feel that Rob Cross is in the right? Do you think he's right to say about Wayne Mardle and his opinions? Or do you think, look, that pause actually does maybe take Rob Cross off the game a little bit and allows his opponent back into the match because he takes too long to compose himself? As Wright has a chance here to check out on tops. Got one dart at double 10. And he gets it. And once again, just like that game we watched between Gary Anderson and Jonny Clayton a few moments ago, you feel like this leg is quite an important one in the game already. Especially as Rob Cross was only, I think he was on 36, with a chance to go 3-0 up. But Carr's put, I'm going to go now, Josh. To you and all, enjoy the darts. Wishing you luck to get another 9-darter. May return, but if I don't, goodbye for now and see you tomorrow. Thank you very much, Carl. If I don't see you for the rest of the evening, then I will definitely see you tomorrow night for El Clasico, that's for sure. But Osti saying, I saw people was like how Wayne Mardle is paid to have his opinion. That's what he's there for, isn't it? You know, we don't sit there as Rob Cross gets a 140. We don't sit there and, well, I think we do to a certain extent, but in football, we do complain a little bit about pundits and their thoughts and stuff, but that's what they're paid for. That's their job. They're there to analyse people. And, you know, we sit there and joke in football how Tim Sherwood's on Soccer Saturday. And this won't apply to people that watch football. You'll sit there and you'll be like, what's he talking about? But people like Tim Sherwood, Jermaine Genius, people that get picked out for their opinions, that's what they're paid for. At the end of the day, they're in a much more privileged position than some of us will ever be. I mean, the fact that I can sit here and, you know, talk crap about the darts for a few hours and have so many of you guys in here is a privilege in itself. But Wayne Mardle and all the other ones, John Parr, Mark Webster, they're all in a much better position than any of us probably will ever be in. And fair play to them. And I can see both sides of the argument. I understand why Cross was a little bit frustrated with what Mardle said. It's his game, and if that was to be said about you, especially when you look at the media these days, it can just get on your nerves a bit. But that's what Wayne Mardle's there to do, isn't it? Everybody can have an opinion. And literally, as I've just said that, Chloe's spot on. Everyone can have an opinion, but Cross just wants to concentrate on his next shot, so that's fair enough. I take my time doing a putt sometimes in golf, which helps my game. Well, that's the thing. Everybody composes themselves in different ways. As Rob Cross checks out another ton plus, 102 this time, on a double 16, and he's off to a really, really good start in this game. And just actually looking at the stats of this match, it's a 94 average for Rob Cross and a 93 average for Peter Wright as he smacks in his first 180 of the game. And maybe a chance for Peter Wright to have a 9-darter. As Zabex is in the building, how are we doing, my friend? Hope you're all good tonight. Brock saying not an argument, just a bit of drama in the spot. Yeah, true. But, I mean, we can look at the situation with Gary Anderson. That was another example of a little spat. The whole Tablegate situation and what went on with that with Rod Harrington and Wayne Mardle. But I look at it and I just think everybody's got their own way of composing themselves. And if Rob Cross wanted to, he could literally stand there for 20 seconds and compose himself. For example, for me, if you look at Justin Pike and the way he throws, people complain about it as a joke, but that's the way he is. He likes to play slow because that's the best way for him to compose himself, and that's the best way for him to score. And I feel like maybe that's the game, a part of the game that Rob Cross has got, where he steps back and takes a little bit of time. It's longer than any other player, but it doesn't matter to me. I don't mind it. As Ostivan, like what Chris said, I saw loads of people in the comments be like, Mardle has won nothing. But that's the same in football. When you've got Tim Sherwood, for example, on Soccer Saturday talking about Liverpool, let's say, and analysing Liverpool's game. The joke always comes up about Tim Sherwood being a useless manager that hasn't done anything, and it's the same in any sport, isn't it? As Daz says, Russ is calling 180 quiet tonight. I wonder if they've been told whether to tone it down. As there's a chance for a 96 checkout for Peter Wright, which he gets on tops. And that's 3-2 in this game. And Peter Wright keeping himself in this match. As I said before, I'm wondering if they've been told to tone it down. Because of Prince Philip. Is it? Surely not. That'd be quite interesting. Actually, it could be, to be fair. But I know George Noble at the start, he was calling this quite loud, and then he just toned it down. I thought it was a case of maybe maybe George Noble just not having a good day. But yeah, as you said, I didn't even realise Russ Bray is calling it really quiet tonight. Might be because of that. But Chloe's asked, how many times will Wright change his darts in this match? Probably about 4 times. I mean, we're quite lucky that we're on to leg 6 here, and he's not actually changed his darts. As there's another 180 this time for Peter Wright, and that's his third 180 in the game, and that's now 3 for Peter Wright. Rob Cross with 0. As Brockle says, I don't mind him pausing either. He hits the shot. It's a part of his game whether I'm a fan or not. Exactly. I could sit here and I could slag Rob Cross's pauses, and it doesn't mean anything. Do you know what I mean? It will never mean anything. I've personally never played on the biggest stage, so my opinion means nothing. And I completely understand that for anything that I say. When I said that night Jose de Souza's never going to win the Premier League because of his awful miscounts, yeah, I slagged him off slightly, but I know my opinion doesn't mean anything. And I think that's maybe just one of the parts of the game where Rob Cross, just focus on yourself. As Wright takes out 20 on a double 10 with his third dart into the top right-hand corner. And it's 3-3 in this game, and it's a slow burner, this one, I feel. The pace of the match is quite reserved, it's calm. But both players keeping themselves well and truly in this game. And we're now halfway through on the legs. And I've just realised, yeah, it is, isn't it? I didn't even realise no fireworks or cheerleaders tonight. Didn't even notice that, I'm not going to lie. And I'm wondering, yeah, whether this night maybe he's just done a little bit quicker with everything going on. But if he hadn't told me that, Osti, I wouldn't have actually realised. Very interesting. Chris saying Ricky Evans never pauses a loose cannon, never composes himself. Yeah, exactly. Look at MVG. These last few days, he's been composing himself. He's had a few moments where he's stepped back and just taken a moment to get himself ready for the shot. Brockle saying everyone's opinions mean something. Yeah, I mean, you can look at it in the other way, definitely say everybody's opinion does mean something. I just think, especially for these sports players, sportsmen, sportswomen, the worst thing you can ever do is look at somebody else's opinion, especially in the media. You have your own, sports psychologists and stuff in the background that'll help you out. And it's all about, I think sometimes, yeah, the media can help, but it's hard, isn't it? We're in a society today where the media means everything. And what's in the media will be seen by everybody, no matter where it goes. Any tweets that we put up, the world can see. And I guess we could sit here for a long time and we could talk for the next 4 hours about, psychology of sports and stuff. But it's a shame, isn't it? It's a shame. As Chris has put, shouldn't be cheerleaders anyway, but our opinion on that from previous streams. Well, you haven't got them tonight, Chris, so you can relax on that one. You can sit back and chill. And then Osti says, I couldn't be asked with the darts tonight because it doesn't feel as enjoyable as I couldn't always hear George. Well, this was the thing. When that news came out this morning with Philip, I think it was about 10, 11 o'clock, maybe a little bit later. As I said earlier, usually sporting events get called off and cancelled. So I was quite surprised that this wasn't cancelled tonight and put back, just because of everything that has gone on today. But it hasn't. So I guess we're lucky to have it on today, because it could have easily been a situation where sporting events were postponed over the weekend, and I don't know what they would have done in that situation then. But chance here for a 150 checkout for Peter Wright. Needs another treble 20 for one dart at double 15. He might go for the 18s instead, which he does, and he hits the treble 4, so he won't be able to check out here. And Rob Cross will have a chance to make it 4-3 with 2 darts at tops. Chloe saying people should just go at their own pace. If they go too quick or overthink what they're going to do, can lose them the match. In the Premier League, you can't afford to have that too many times, and especially with this year as well, Chloe. As you said, it's so competitive this year that you can't afford to miss many chances. And already after 95, we've seen so many games where players could have easily won matches if they hadn't have had poor finishing. As Rob Cross does take a 4-3 lead for double 10. And Peter right here just got a bit stiff with the shoulders there. And if he'll be able to hold his throw, then Rob Cross might be one leg away from a point as he smacks in his first 180 of the match. And that's the perfect point to get your first one on the board of the 15th in the Premier League TNA. Buchanan report saying might as well talk for the next 4 hours about it. You've been talking for 20 minutes on the issue. Fair point, fair point. Although I think if I sat here for 4 hours, it could just turn into a psychology stream, as there's another chance here for a 9-darter maybe, but Rob Cross's 5th dart does hit the 20, so there'll be no chance of that, sadly. But he is down to 181 after 6 darts. Osti van Osterman saying, I wonder if they have kept it the same if fans were at the venue, because I don't get how they would be able to get loads of people to pipe down. As Wright hits a 180 of his own. That's now 5 in the match, and 4 for Peter Wright. But Rob Cross here at 181 is going to put Wright under some pressure as he gets 123 to leave 58. Do you remember the walk-on girls, Chris asked? Yes, I do. They went, didn't they? Wasn't it the whole situation with the walk-on spat? Never get why. Really baffled me that. But chance here for Rob Cross to take a 5-3 lead with 2 darts at tops. You feel that this is a massive moment in the game. And it's a big moment indeed, because he is 5-3 in this match. And Rob Cross is now 1 leg away from guaranteeing a point against Peter Wright. And with the way that this game has gone, you feel like he could do it. He's played very, very well indeed. And if he can keep going with the double success, which is currently at 83%, then you just feel like maybe Rob Cross might be about to get 2 points on the board rather than 1. Austin Van Osterman said F1 started, then darts walk-on goals went. Why did that even turn into an issue? I can't remember. I remember with the F1 a little bit, what went on there. I'm guessing it was just similar to what happened in F1 with the walk-on girls, but really strange. Because you look at the whole cheerleading situation now, and I'm surprised maybe there's people out there going, oh, cheerleaders, get rid of them. And I know obviously Chris was saying he doesn't think that they should be in darts, but I think that's a very different point to what some of the points were being made about the walk-on girls. Rocco said it was the BDO's fault walk-on girls were stopped. Oh, God. Feels like a long time ago, that, doesn't it? But Rob Cross here at 3-2-4. Wright at 2-1. Going to need to get a few trebles on the board here, Rob Cross. Which he doesn't. Only gets 98, so in a really good position here, Peter Wright, to maybe make it 5-4 in this game. If he can get a few trebles, which in fact he's on for a 180, but he'll swap towards the 19s. And he will leave himself with 62. With Rob Cross back at 2-2-6 here. Just needs to get himself under the 170 mark, which he's not actually going to be able to do here now. So Wright has the advantage. And 6 darts minimum in hand to check out 62. He's going to go for 10. Tops. And 1 dart at double 16. Which he doesn't get. I thought he did for a second there. It looked like it had just gone in and grazed the bottom right hand corner like the chance we had for Jonny Clayton in the first game. But he doesn't get it in the end. And Rob Cross here gets a 140. So Peter Wright going to be under some pressure here to take out the 32. Which he's not going to have any pressure. Because he takes it out with his first dart. And it's now 5-4 in this game. And he's throwing here, once again, Rob Cross, to try and guarantee a point in the match. But can he get it? We'll have to find out as this game continues on. And I feel like this game has gone on for a long time now. As we said earlier, very steady pace to this one. I forgot to actually change the scoreboard for the Gary Anderson game. Give me 2 seconds here. So that one ended 7-3, didn't it, to Clayton on the night. Let me just sort that out. 2 seconds. Your screen might freeze for about half a second while I sort this out. There we go. Should have sorted it out. So that'll be the scoreline for the Gary Anderson Clayton game coming up in about 2 seconds, I think. Although saying that, it's not changed. So I don't know what's going on there, but I'll sort that out in a second. As Rob Cross here at 301. Peter Wright at 319. And you just feel here, and I'm saying you just feel, he definitely needs to win this next leg. Or else Peter Wright might find himself back into the driving seat. And we saw Gary Anderson try and fight his way back into the match earlier on, just couldn't in the end. But Rob Cross here, allowing every opportunity for Peter Wright to get back into this. I mean, as it stands, average-wise, Rob Cross at 97.7 and Peter Wright at 98.55. So both players playing pretty decent. As Rob Cross gets himself down to 119. Peter Wright 100 points behind at 219. Going to need to get 100 minimum here. Just to put some pressure on Rob Cross. And I can't believe it. He's not changed his darts at all tonight. Mad, isn't it? Austin Van Osterman said apparently they got banned aftermath of the Dorchester hostess scandal and resulted in Chiefs at the PDC scrapping the model's participation in the players' entrances. Wow. I mean, it's a long time ago, so hence why I couldn't really remember anything that went on with it, but Jesus. I remember it being a massive thing at the time. It was all over the news with the whole walk-on girls situation, whether this should stay or go. I think a lot of social media back then as well was up in arms about it. But chance here for a 138 checkout from Peter Wright, which he's not going to be able to get. So Rob Cross with a chance to guarantee a point with 2 darts at tops. And a big moment in the game now for what would be a humongous point for Rob Cross to continue a fantastic start to his Premier League campaign. He's now going to have 1 dart at double 10. And he doesn't hit it. He hits the 10. And a chance now for Peter Wright to make it 5-all in the game. And fine margins by this one, isn't it? A really close game. As Peter Wright has 2 darts left here at tops. And he does make it 5-all in this match. And well, he hasn't changed his darts tonight. As Chloe said, shocking. I thought Wright was going to change his darts. Maybe he's saving that for after the break, which we'll have to see in a few days' time. But David Evans has asked what is wrong with Ross Bergh tonight. He's not shouting the score as usual. We believe it's to do with Prince Philip, David. I didn't notice at the start of the night. There's no cheerleaders tonight. There's no fireworks. And I think George, at the start in the first game, was, I think for the first 5 minutes, he was shouting the 180s as usual. But I think they've been told to tone it down because of the Prince Philip situation, which, look, I'm not going to say anything on it because today is just a case of mourning. But I think you can see my opinion on what I would probably say. But I think the best thing is to just... maybe you might have to turn the volume up tonight because I can't really hear much of what Russ Bergh's saying at all. Either that or the microphones are faulty. One of the two. I'm thinking it's going to be the first one, not the latter. But I will try my very best tonight to keep you up to date with the scores. As there's a chance for a 180 here for Peter Wright, which he doesn't get, but a 140 will do. But he will be down to 81 here. Rob Cross all the way back at 320. Might be a chance for a 180 from Rob Cross, which he does get. So 180 from Rob Cross, it's probably not going to be enough with Peter Wright at 81. And after getting what is his second 180 on the board here, Peter Wright with a chance to check out 81 on double 12, which he does. And it will be Peter Wright who guarantees himself a point in this Premier League affair. As for Rob Cross, he's going to have to now salvage a point after being in a winning position for what feels like the majority of the game. As Brockles put media, the biggest problem in our world today. Anyway, amazing game. It has been a good game, hasn't it, so far? And we've got one more leg left. Austin Van Osman saying, I saw this guy on Twitter bought a calculator for Jose and sent it to Milton Keynes. That is amazing. Did anybody see the tweet that? I think Wayne Mardle put up a picture of his 2 dogs, and I think somebody made a joke about Jose on his Twitter about seeing 3 dogs. Oh, the amount of memes that have come out of Jose de Souza this week. If it's not the miscount, it was the reaction he had after the first miscount a few days ago. So he's a character, isn't he? That's why we love him. So, Peter Wright averaging 101 now in this game. Rob Cross got to dig deep here in this last leg. He's down to 282. Peter Wright at 240 here. And I mean, if you can get a 180 on the board, or a 140, that will do him some good. And he's on course for the 180, Peter Wright. And a 180 is what he'll get. And that will certainly put him on the driving seat even, to win this game. And Rob Cross here, who only gets 100, has surely now gifted Peter Wright the chance to claim the game with at least, 4 darts at tops? Now 1 dart left at double 10 here. But he will be coming back in. He will have 3 match darts at that double 10 as Luke Bowe is in the building. Not happy about this result tonight, are you? He's played well, hasn't he, again, Rob Cross, but he's just let this game slip away from him. There's Peter Wright here. Chance to check out double 10 with 3 match darts for a 7-5 win. First dart is a good marker. And the second dart is in. And Peter Wright gets a 7-5 victory over Rob Cross in this game. And look, Rob Cross did give a pretty decent performance tonight, but in the end, in the last stages of the game, he just let the match go away from him. And Peter Wright, who was averaging around about 100 towards the end of the match, I think he will have got 100 overall, will have got himself a very, very big victory on the board, and it keeps him up there with the rest of the pack. As for Rob Cross, a defeat that he will not want to look back at, especially with how well he was playing in the early sections of the game. But a 7-5 win is a very, very good result indeed. And Peter Wright, who, of course, was sat... How many points was he on? He was on, I think... Was it 3 points? 4 points. Now goes up to 6 points, which puts him into second for now. Of course, that will change with the rest of the games going on tonight, which you can see on the right-hand side of your screen, the order of play. We've got 3 more games to come this evening. Up next is Van Gerwen against Nathan Aspinall. Mighty Michael. Wasn't really mighty, was he, yesterday against James Wade? Pretty poor performance in the end. But what about Nathan Aspinall? Gave a really good performance against Souza de Souza that hit 11 180s and a 9 darter. He's going to have to put in quite a quality performance tonight if that's anything to go by from the last few days. James Wade is coming up against Glen Durrant. I think we're all sat here, unless you're a James Wade fan, of course, hoping and praying that he can get something on the board. But look, with the way that he's played in this competition so far, Glen Durrant has some work to do if he wants to claim any points in the Premier League. And then final game of the night is that match between Dimitri van den Bergh and Souza de Souza. Dimitri van den Bergh has been exceptional in this tournament, but my word, Souza de Souza, the last 2 games, he has played some stunning darts. It should leave us with quite a thrilling affair at the end of the night. Don't forget, and I hate saying it all the time, but I guess, when we do have a break in between, it makes my life easier. If you are new to the stream, don't forget to leave a like and subscription if you've enjoyed the content tonight. It's greatly, greatly appreciated for those of you that do. I can see we've got 72 of you in here and only 23 likes, so let's try and get them up before the end of the night. Let's see if we can get to, let's see if we can get 30 or 40. That'd be brilliant. But basically, we are the Sports Corner. Not just me on here that does the content. We've got a whole team that do live sporting content and videos and podcasts based on a whole range of sports, including football, darts, F1, and a various range of other sports indeed. If you want to see some of the stuff coming up over the next few days, then take a look at this video. It's well worth checking out because we've got a real good game at the weekend in La Liga. Check this out. Coming up this week on the Sports Corner, we've got a whole range of content, including wrestling based around WrestleMania, so do keep your eyes out on the channel for all of the content Rowan's uploading this week. And talking about Rowan, he'll be back on Saturday morning for Adelaide United, taking on Western Sydney Wanderers on A-League Saturdays. Saturday night, I'll be live from 7:55 for El Clasico. It is going to be a fantastic game as the title race begins to get closer and closer. And then Champions League action on Tuesday, Chelsea with a 2-0 lead over Porto, and PSG 3-2 up on Bayern, but who will win, we'll have to find out. Same on Wednesday night, Dortmund currently 2-1 down to Man City, and Liverpool 3-1 down to Real Madrid, who will come out on top with the second leg of quarter-final action coming up on Thursday. That's your week on the Sports Corner. So there's a look at some of the content to come over the next few days. As I said, lots of sporting action. Next week we've got the Champions League and the Europa League games, of course, and then after that we've also got earlier in the week some Premier League, not Premier League action, we've got the League action with El Clasico, which that'll be on Saturday night. With me, I'm continuing on doing some more footballing action before I do take a little bit of a break, because we've got a little break in the Premier League. If you are new and maybe you've never watched the Premier League of Darts before, usually the competition would be based over 17 nights. However, that's changed this year because of COVID-19. It is in a much shorter format. So for those of you maybe wondering, well, when's the next night of Premier League action? We've got a nice little break before we come back to Milton Keynes again. So as you can see on the screen, we are on night number 5 now. That is Friday the 9th of April. There'll be a 10-night break, and then we're back on Monday the 19th till the Thursday 22nd of April. Those first 3 nights, as you can see, 6 to 8, will just be normal. Looking very nice indeed in terms of how the table's looking. But the 22nd of April will be Judgment Night. And basically what that means for anybody who doesn't know is that the bottom 2 players in the Premier League table will get booted out of the Premier League of Darts, and we won't be seeing them again for now. Then we'll have another break. That'll be another 10 to 15 day break. And we'll be back on 5th of May for nights 10 to 12. We'll then have another 2-week break. We'll be back on nights 13 to 16, which are normal. And then the final night is the playoffs night, which is on the 28th of May. That will determine who wins the tournament and takes home I think it's 250 grand, is it, for the winner? And then, of course, if you win the Premier League table, you get, I think it's a 25 grand bonus on top of the position that you finish in. So there's a lot of money on the line in this competition. But who's going to take that $250,000 home? We'll have to find out over the next few weeks. But let's go over that game now between Peter Wright and Rob Cross. 7-5 win in the end there. And a really good result for Snakebite, who did average over 100 in the game. And when you actually look at the two averages overall, the 95.43 average for Rob Cross and 100.35 for Peter Wright. It was a really good performance. And again, tonight Rob Cross played well. But it was just as the game continued on, he really let the game slip away from himself. And Peter Wright played really well tonight. A very good performance. And again, he changed his darts, which I think people were probably thinking, what? And I know Stefan Osterman just saw this video from the Dutch commentary. Whenever Wright's darts went into the board, there was a boing sound for one leg. A shame Sky Sports couldn't do that. We need a bit of light-hearted stuff in the building. But Peter Wright moves into third, by the way. Rob Cross into sixth, but he's only 1 point behind Peter Wright. So there's a long way to go in this competition, isn't there? But otherwise, stats, 50% checkout success for Peter Wright in that match, 7 out of 14 on doubles. And for Rob Cross, 62.5% checkout success. That's 5 out of 8 at doubles. But he just wasn't able to get the victory in this game. And I think for Rob Cross, if you look over the last 5 days and take everything into account, again, didn't play his A game tonight. I think he played a little bit of his B game. If we could see that A game in the next few rounds of matches, Rob Cross could be up there and within a shout of making the top 4. However, if we see performances like this, it's not a bad performance, but it could leave him lingering around the midsection of the table, and maybe by nights 11 onwards, let's just say, he could be out of the race for the top 4. It all depends. I don't think he will. I think this is the season where everybody can snatch points off each other, but I think he's just got to get his game improved a little bit. As for Peter Wright, great performance so far, 6 points. I think he'd be very happy with that in terms of the points that he's got on the board. I think that Dimitri van den Bergh game yesterday was a very good point for him. And the one loss that he did get was a deserved loss against MVG, where he never really turned up on the night. So I think both players in very, very respectable positions in the Premier League. And I'll be interested to see, after the second batch of games, how both of these players' positions have changed. Will it be Peter Wright storming ahead towards the top end of the table and Rob Cross a little bit further down, or will it be a case of that mid-section of the table, 6th, 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, are just really, really tight together? And even first, I think top will be tight for large stages of this competition. So let's move on to the next game of the night now. Game number 3, Van Gerwen v Aspinall. I'm excited for this one. I'm really, really excited because MVG, we always sit here every single time he gets a defeat in a game, and you always sit here and you say, he's going to come back, isn't he? He's going to come back with a 100+ average. He's going to stick in a load of 180s, and he's going to beat his opponent by quite a margin. Are we going to see that today? Who knows? I think Aspinall is good enough to beat Michael van Gerwen on his day. And with how Aspinall has played, I think he could beat him on his day. He played really well last night, Aspinall. When you've got a player hitting 11 180s, nearly breaking records in the Premier League, hitting 9 darters, it can be quite easy for that to deter you off your game. But he didn't. He saw the good side of it. He applauded when Souza hit it. He laughed when he miscounted, which I thought was quite funny. Maybe it's a bit of karma for Souza hitting that 9 darter in the end. But look, this for me is the game of the night. I think there'll be a lot of people saying Van den Bergh Souza is the game of the night, and I agree with them. I think that's the second best. But this for me is the one where you don't really know what's going to happen, because look, Souza could have Van Gerwen could have another stinker again. He could come out of this game with a 90 average. And then we'll be sat here saying MVG's a fraud, he's not going to win the Premier League, and it's going to be another bad season for him. Or we come out of this game, he wins it against Aspinall, and then he's in a much better position, and we're saying, oh, it's not a bad start for MVG, he could have been better, but he could have been worse. But what I will do, as I always do, I have my prediction for that game between MVG and Aspinall. My last prediction what I made for that game between Peter Wright and Rob Cross was horribly, horribly wrong. Is this one going to be horribly, horribly right? I don't think it will be. Take a look at this. Game number 3 now of the night. Quite a standout, this one. Michael van Gerwen coming up against Nathan Aspinall. You know, it's safe to say these two have had a fair few quality matches against each other in the past. And I've gone for this game another 6-6 draw. Now, this would be MVG's second draw in a row. Nathan Aspinall, I can't remember what I predicted him yesterday, but I mean, Nathan Aspinall wouldn't care. I think a point against MVG is not a bad result. I think there'll be a lot of people out there expecting MVG to bounce back. I think there'll be a lot of people out there expecting MVG to continue on these terrible performances, but I feel like throughout the last 5 days, I've gone in the middle. I've sat on the fence with MVG. I've given him some wins. I've given him some defeats, I hope. I probably haven't. And I've given him some draws like I have here with Nathan Aspinall. I think these two guys, whenever they come up against each other, they're brilliant to watch. Again, I do think the passion comes out on display. I think sometimes Nathan Aspinall, he's in awe. Well, he's in awe, I think is the best way to put it, of some of the quality players. He wants to be like them. And I think someday he might be like them. He's certainly up there in the rankings with them. And I think this could be a good opportunity for Nathan Aspinall to really put a dampen on MVG's run in this tournament, depending on how he's gone so far. But I'm going to go 6-6 on the night. Draw for both players. Not a bad way to end the tournament, for this stage at the very least, for both players. I think I made a good prediction there. I listened to it for a second just to see what I actually said. I think I made a very good prediction. I think when I went into this tournament before and I made those videos last week, I did think in my head that Van Gerwen and Aspinall is always a good game. I don't think there's many times where these two don't come up against each other and it's a bad one. Which means tonight we're due a rubbish game, based on my luck. But I think a 6-6 draw is fair, and that's what I'm going to go for. I think it's a very, very hard game to call. So why not just sit on the fence and be a boring git? And that's what I'm going to do. So 7, I'm seeing in the chat 7-5. Chloe is what's saying for this game to MVG. Daz is saying he thinks Nathan Aspinall is going to win this 7-4. Luke Boyer saying Michael van Gerwen is a fraud. And then Chris is saying 7-2. MVG's on this inconsistent blip since losing World Final to Wright was shocking last night. I see him turning up tonight. That's the thing. We always think he is, but is he tonight? Who knows? Who knows? So Nathan Aspinall just coming out onto the stage here. That game yesterday was brilliant. I don't think MVG can have another game where he can have a 90 average. Do you know what I mean? He will not let himself play to that extent as what he did last night again, because that's when people were like, he's a fraud, get him out of the Premier League, bring Gerwyn back in. To be fair, there's probably a lot of people saying get Gerwyn back in even now after 5 days, but Luke Boy saying Nathan 7-0, take it or leave it. I think there'll be a lot of people in the chat who'll take it. I mean, I'm not going to lie, if Nathan was to win 7-0, I kind of wouldn't mind it. And that's not because I don't like MVG. It would just be a big shock, wouldn't it? But Daz is saying time for a beer or two now. We're on to our second gin of the night. We're on to the third game as Van Gerwen takes on Nathan Aspinall. And only now do I realise, yes, there was no fireworks or anything today. But let's get underway with the game and see what happens in this match. As George Noble is the referee for this game. But we're not going to hear the 180s, which is a shame. Been really, really quiet, hasn't it, tonight with the whole Prince Philip situation going on. But look, should be a good game, this one. Without further ado, we'll get ourselves underway with this game. And the real question on everybody's lips, I think, is that can MVG go out there and put in a dominant performance? And despite losing 3 of his last 4 matches versus Van Gerwen, Aspinall has won half of the legs played in those matches. So there's a little stat for you as we get into this game. And no doubt, you'd feel like MVG tonight should be putting in quite the performance. But a few more practice starts here. As Luke Boy says, fraudsters like MVG don't deserve to be in the Premier League. Get him out! We need to bring players like Bunting in. Although I would be all down for Bunting being in there. I know we had somebody ask us last night about whether Stephen Bunting was in. I think an interesting question while this game does get underway. If you could take one player out of this Premier League campaign and put one player in, not including Gerwyn Price because he was supposed to be here anyway, and not including James Wade. Let's take those two out. Who would you put in the Premier League? I think I'm going to hear a lot of people in the chat saying they'd take Dozer and Cross out, and I'm guessing we'll probably have a lot of people say they want to bring in either Chizzy, Bunting, or Smith. Probably the main three that people would be looking towards to get in the Premier League. But we're underway now in this game. Chloe says, I'm going to say that double 16 will be the winning double of this match. Well, do remind me at the end of this game, I have put Aspinall down to win. If he wins, I am potentially one game away from a nice little tidy bit of cash as Aspinall gets himself down to 176. Van Gerwen at 165, which he's not going to be able to check that out. So both players will be on pretty close grounds. As I don't know whether Osti van Osterman said RVB because he knows Chris would get rattled by it. But Raymond van Barneveld in the Premier League would be an interesting one. Luke Boy saying he wants Mensah Suljovic in the Premier League. And remove Dimitri van den Bergh and Dozer. And put Suljovic and Whitlock in. As Van Gerwen checks out 100 to start the match. Good start to this game for Michael van Gerwen with a 15 darter to begin the night. I'd like to see Whitlock in it. Whitlock could have been nice, but just a little bit too far down the rankings, isn't he? And James is in the building. How are we doing, my friend? Good evening, Josh and everyone. How's everyone tonight? I'm doing very good indeed. Hope you're all good, James. Welcome along to the darts. This is the I don't know how to put it. This is the adult section of streams, isn't it? I guess we tried to keep all rosy in the football ones, but this is where the alcohol comes out and the it's more chilled out, I guess I'd say. Especially when it's 4 hours long. The football ones, every time I do one after a darts match, I'm like, bloody hell, that's quick. But chance here for Aspinall, maybe with a 180, which he's going to get, but a 140 will do, and he is down to 121 with Michael van Gerwen back at 268 here. So you would assume, which he is going to get, a chance of at least 6 starts to get it 1-1 in this game. So 1-2-1 check out here. It's going to go outer ball. Treble 20. 1 dart at double 18 to top the 100 that Van Gerwen got, and he does. And it's 2 ton plus finishers to start us off in this match. And we are off to an absolute rocker in this game. And it's not quite the 9 darter and the miscount we had yesterday, but it's good enough in the final night of Premier League action. As Chris has put, that's a hard question. Durrant deserves to be there because he's a defending champion. I would have said take Cross out because of last year's form. Replace him with King. Yeah, not a bad shout. I mean, I always wondered in the back of my head, and it never happened because I just don't think it would work. But if they ever did like a Unibet Premier League 2, and that's where they put the likes of Chizzy, King, Bunting, Whitlock, Suljovic, maybe even Ratajski, those types of players into a second one, it'd be cool, but I don't think it'd work. Just purely because of the whole fact of, I just think viewing figures and stuff, it wouldn't work out. But it'd be cool. It would be cool. As James says, drink along with you, even though I couldn't care less about the darts here for the commentary. Well, you missed it. 2 nights in a row, James. We had 9 darters on the stream. The holy grail of the darting world, and good nights. We've had some good nights. We've been treated as dart fans, I feel. You know, there's always one game, I feel, a night where you look back and you think, whew, that was a good match. We're quite lucky that our sport is full of pretty good games, left, right and centre. And that just shows that the standard of darts right now, it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. Suljovic. No, it's Suljovic, not Soljovic. Soljevic. It's Suljovic, isn't it? You could call it Unibet Championship. Yeah, they could do like Unibet Championship, Unibet League 1. Sod it, let's have 4 leagues. Have it like the EFL. They all play at the same time. You could have the Premier League, of course, on TV. Then you could have the Championship one on PDC.TV. There you go. That's one for you, Barry Hearn. I hope he's listening as we have another chance for another ton plus finish. And it's a 148 this time. And Van Gerwen. This could be a noisy game, this one. 3 legs on the board. 3 ton plus finishers. And this could be quite the match. Van Osterman said, I remember that Unibet prank they did on MVG and Wright. I'm trying to remember it off the top of my head now. You're going to have to remind me. I can't remember it. I'm not going to lie. As Dad says he's opened his 2 cans for the night. Sit back and relax. Because we've still got lots of games to come. But I'd like that if they did a Unibet Championship. It'd be quite cool. Because for players like Whitlock, Chizzy, Smith, there's that big break in between, isn't there? Where there's just not really much going on. And I mean, yes, they'll have the floor tournaments and they'll have the PDC Super Series soon. I think in the next few days, isn't it? As Aspinall smacks in a 140. But it would be nice if they did like a championship for some of the low rated players. But as I said, Barry Earn, if you're listening, you can have that idea from me. I'm pretty sure he's probably already had it pitched to him at some point. There's a chance here for Aspinall to check out the 170, but in this game of anything you can do, I can do better, Aspinall's not going to take it out. He's going to have to go for a measly 36. Not quite what we've seen in the last 3 legs now. Chloe said, imagine Tumplus finishes until the end of the match. That'd be nice, but Nathan Aspinall had to go and ruin it. Although saying that, he does hit the double 18 with his first dart, and as it stands in this game, both players playing really well, and both players, more importantly, on 100% checkout success. As Luke Boyer says, Michael Smith is the biggest fraud of them all. I'm not going to say anything on that, but I think he's one of those players where I think he could be great on his day, but I think he has too many times where he lets his frustrations come out. But that's all I'm going to say. As Aspinall's averaging 107, Michael van Gerwen only averaging 92. You want to be able to tell with the way that this game has started. No doubt you'd expect his average to increase. As Brockle said, can never have enough darts. I could watch 365 days a year. I wish I was. If there was darts every single day of the year, I'd be buzzing. It'd make my life easier. I'd be able to stream every single day of the year. Apart from... Actually, no, yeah, let's have darts on Christmas Day. Why not? You always have that 4-day gap, don't you, where the World Championship takes a break. Because we have the first 180 of the match. And it goes to Nathan Aspinall in this game. As Michael van Gerwen has a chance for a 1-2-1 checkout. He goes for the outer bull. And he's going to have no opportunity to take it out. So he will come back in a moment as Aspinall is at 183. As Luke Boy says, most overrated players are the 2 biggest frauds, Michael Smith and Michael van Gerwen. As Chris has asked in the chat, what's everybody's most overrated darts player? Do tell us in the chat. As Michael van Gerwen has a chance to take out double 2, which he does. And it's a 3-2 lead to MVG, and he might only be averaging 92. But if he keeps up his consistent finishing, Nathan Aspinall could average 120 and still not win. Although saying that, Aspinall's finishing has been quality in itself. Just seems really strange to see MVG in the lead in this game. But he's pushing him, and that's what MVG needs. He needs pushing. And I think he'll know in the back of his head that Aspinall is giving him a very, very tough game so far. But look at the board. It's taking a bit of a barren. Is it Simon Whitlock in disguise here? But you guys are putting so many of your most overrated players in darts. Brockle saying Wayne Mardle. Daz saying Peter Wright. Which is an interesting one. Might be a chance here for Aspinall to get another 180. He won't, but a 140 will do. He's down to 130 with Van Gerwen back at 234 here. And he's scoring really, really well tonight, as Luke Voyer says that Michael van Gerwen should consider retirement. Oh, God. Let's hope MVG aren't seeing your comments, Luke. He'd be rattled. So, chance here for Aspinall to check out the 130, which he's not going to be able to take. And with the way MVG's playing tonight, you feel like he could take out this 1-1-1. Gets treble 19. 1 dart at double, tops even. And he doesn't get it in the end. And I thought for a second we were going to be seeing another ton plus finish. But Aspinall now, a chance here to take out 73. Going to have 1 dart at tops, which hits the 20. So MVG now with a chance to take a 2-leg lead over Aspinall. Which he does. And look, he's not playing great tonight at all. But at the end of the day, Nathan Aspinall, who's averaging well over 100, has got to somehow improve his game here, because MVG is putting in a very Peter Wright-esque performance in that match a few days ago, where his average just doesn't need to be high with his quality finishing. Chris saying Ian White for me. People rating him what he does on floor events. I think that's a very good shout. Look, you could sit there and say Adrian Lewis, but he has titles to his name, so I guess that's one of those where, you know, I wouldn't put his name up there because he's won stuff. As Aspinall here looking for a 180 and doesn't get it. But Chris saying Watermania as well, which I think is definitely a good shout. So Aspinall at 276 here. Van Gerwen at 206. Van Gerwen with the break of throw, by the way, for any of you wondering. But Aspinall chance here for the 180, which he gets. And there's a roar from Aspinall, who's averaging 107 in this game. And he's down to 96. As MVG only gets 60 and gives Aspinall a real chance here to make it 4-3 in this game. Hits the treble 20, so he's got 2 darts at double 18, which he gets. And it is 4-3 now. And the finishing in this game has been exquisite, if I say so myself. It's a good match to watch, and Aspinall will be thinking here, look, get the next leg on the board. Get the next 2 on the board even. And I will find myself in a very, very good position. I have got him to win tonight. I think I've got him on as a match treble, actually. Which I had on, I think, Clayton. So I really need De Souza to win tonight. Unless Aspinall loses, then it means nothing. But there's a long way to go in this one. Could say my one to watch every year, Jeffrey does one too. He's still young though, isn't he? He's got a long way to go. A lot of time to progress as a player. As Rees is in the building, how are we doing, my friend? Welcome along to the Premier League of Darts. How are we doing? Hope you're all good, lad. I'm going to guess you've just finished work or you're on your break, one of the two. As Aspinall gets 138 to leave 167. And then Chloe has asked the other question of, we've asked about the most overrated. Who's the most underrated player? Is another very good question on the board. So Aspinall is not going to be able to take out the 167. Michael van Gerwen, chances to take out the 132, which is actually what he won the title with against Phil Taylor, which he's not going to get. So Aspinall coming back here to make it 4-all in this game with a bull and double 16. Gets the bull. 2 darts to double 16. Oh, he's brilliant from Aspinall. Surely now you feel in this game that Aspinall might be able to fight back and get a win, or at least get into the lead in this game. He's giving MVG a real fight. And look, Aspinall is playing quality darts. It's what you want to see. Absolutely quality. I mean, looking at his averages right now across the board, he's had a few legs where he's averaged just under the 100 mark, but leg 2 he averaged 125.3. The last leg, leg 7, he averaged 136.6. Otherwise, he's only had, I think 3 legs in the game where he's averaged under 100, which just proves how good he is. But for me, if I'm going most underrated player, I think he's tough. You could put Dirk van Dijvenbode up there, but I guess he's still developing. You could put Ryan Searle up there, but again, I think he's still quite new and developing as well. I think Whitlock has to be up there for the fact of he's been playing in the game for so long now. As MVG here has got a real chance to make it 5-4 and take the lead again, as his average just creeps up towards the 100 mark. In fact, he's up to 100. And he's on a checkout of double 16. But Aspinall here gets a 180. And he'll be under a little bit of pressure to take this out, MVG. But what's pressure? He takes it out. And it's 5-4. And Michael van Gerwen is now 1 leg away from a guaranteed point. And again, look, it's another brilliant game tonight. Just one of those games where you feel if it had continued on for a little bit longer, then it would have just got better and better as the night went on. As apparently Wolves have taken a 1-0 lead against Fulham, which is a big result in the relegation race. And then Chris has also said Dolan as well, which is another good one. I think Dolan is coming really, really good again. I'm hoping he shoots up the rankings this year, Brendan Dolan. Changed his throwing technique, hasn't he, slightly, to be a little bit quicker, and it's working for him. Didn't he win a Super Series as well quite recently? I think it was one of the last weekends, wasn't it, where he won one of the events. As Aspinall's now down to 81. Michael van Gerwen down at 316. Watchalong Piper has asked, are you allowed to go to the toilet in the middle of the match? If you mean me, yes, but in terms of a player, no. I don't think you are. I've never seen it, so I can't tell you whether anybody has or not, but apparently it's 0-0. VAR checked it, didn't give the goal. Unlucky there for Wolves. So, chance to make it 5-5 here. Double 6 to make it 5-all in this game that you feel like might have a chance to go for 6-all. As Aspinall takes it out and it's 5-5, and every single time Aspinall gives himself up, he seems to give the next leg away. And of course, whoever wins this next leg is going to guarantee themselves a point. And they're having a real good scrap. As Patrick says, he thinks Michael Smith is very underrated. And Luke's disagreeing and saying he's overrated. Interesting debate going on in the chat there. As MVG looks to get a 180 and doesn't. But he gets a 140, which Aspinall's going to have to match here. Gets a 20. Gets a treble 20. Really needs another one here, Aspinall. And doesn't. And this is a good performance from MVG. Started off very sloppy, but as the game's continued on, he has got a much better rhythm and flow going in this game. But can one of these two players get that leg on the board? Van Gerwen's at 125. Aspinall really needs another treble here, which he doesn't get. And he's only down to 161. And you feel here there's a chance for MVG to take out a 125. Going to have a chance, which he's not going to be able to take out. So 161. If Aspinall wants to win this game, he's going to have to take it out. This would be quite a finish, wouldn't it? Which he's not going to get, sadly. So MVG is coming back to make it 6-5. And to maybe take what would be a big, big result away from Aspinall. One dart at double 10. And he gets it. And that's a guaranteed point for MVG. And the roars are coming out now. And again, Aspinall, who must surely be thinking in this game tonight, how am I not winning? But fair play, because MVG has certainly improved in this game. But he is going to take a point home here. And I think Aspinall did so well to get a draw last night. And tonight it'll be quite the opposite. He'll be thinking, how have I not won? But he might have a chance here, maybe, to get himself a 9-darter MVG. Aspinall going to respond with a 140. How about a 9-darter from Michael van Gerwen? He'd want to join that club. The answer is no, he's not going to get it as he's hit his 4th dart at 20. And he might have just allowed Aspinall a chance here. 60 from Van Gerwen leaves him at 267. Aspinall at 230 needs a few trebles here, which he's not going to get. Only 45 from Aspinall. And I think he's just let MVG have a real chance to take the win. Aspinall averaging 107.98. Van Gerwen just averaging over 100. He's got a chance to take out the 170 if he wants to be a little bit flashy, but I don't think he will. As he's wilted there, 58. And he knows he's probably lost it here. And he'll not be happy. And you can see his reaction. He's done so well to get into this position, to be up there with MVG. But he's just not done good enough. Although he's got a chance here. Still in the balance. 127 checkout for a chance to redeem himself and make it 6-all. Which he needs treble 19, which he's not going to get. And Michael van Gerwen will be coming back at the 74. Treble 14, double 16 for a big 2 points from MVG. Gets the 14. Gets 20. Tops to win. Just wide. And again, Aspinall now with another chance. The 3rd time lucky maybe to redeem himself in this game. And get a point. He's going to go for, I think, tops with one dart in hand for what would be a deserved point. And a deserved point it is! And Aspinall, who must have thought in the last two sets of darts that he had there that he was just not going to get a result against MVG. But he did in the end. He got himself what was a well-deserved point in this game. And with both players averaging over the 100 mark, it was a fantastic match to watch. But in the end, Nathan Aspinall again finds himself on the back of a game where he's probably thinking, how did I get something from this? But it's role reversal this time. He was very lucky against Jose de Souza. Tonight, he probably feels that he could have had much better. And look, for the rest of the pack, if you're Rob Cross and Gary Anderson, who were looking up at those guys, you'll be absolutely delighted with that result. That's gone to both players. If you are Peter Wright, you're even more buzzing because you've got 2 points on the board. And same for Clayton, who is now getting a little bit of a foothold at the top of the table. But the man who will be the happiest the most is Mr. Dimitri van den Bergh. And talking about him, we've got 2 more games coming up tonight. James Wade is coming up against Glen Durrant. Glen Durrant so far in the competition has struggled in really, really worrying fashion. With no wins on the board, can he get, and no points actually on the board, can he get a point tonight against the Machine, who looked really good last night against Michael van Gerwen? We'll have to find out. That game's probably in about 10 or 15 minutes time, maybe a little bit less. They seem to be ushering the games quite quick tonight. As for Dimitri van den Bergh, de Souza, that's the last game of the night. Arguably, you could say that is the game of the evening, with both players playing incredibly, incredibly well in the tournament so far. But who's going to win it? And if not, are they going to get a point? And we have a few more draws. But yeah, I mean, I think that's a deserved point for Nathan Aspinall there. I think MVG, he started off really slow, but then he got into the game. And that's what you'd expect from MVG. And Aspinall, it was one of his better performances, but maybe feels like he let himself down a little bit towards the end, and the pace, very similar I guess to what we saw from Joe Cullen when he played MVG. He just dropped off as the game continued on, and a player like MVG, you know, when you drop off 9 times out of 10, he's going to capitalise on that and come back firing on all cylinders. And that's what he did, and we'll talk a little bit more, and we'll actually look at the stats of the game in a few minutes time. But as I always say, don't forget, if you are new and you have enjoyed the watch along so far, to leave a like and a subscription. This is the last night of Premier League of Darts action, but don't worry, it's only batch 1. We've got a whole host of other games to come. We've got a 10-day break, basically, so we'll be back on the 19th of April. We're covering every single night of Premier League of Darts action on the Sports Corner, so if you maybe are missing a night and you can't watch it on Sky or wherever you're watching it in the world, then come and join us on YouTube for free, and I'll give you some live commentary of the games. But we've also got other content on the channel over the rest of the week. We don't just do darts, we are the Sports Corner. We do a whole host of other sports, including F1, wrestling, NFL. We've got MLS football coming up very soon as well in the next week or two. But take a look at this advert. This will give you a little bit of a clue as to some of the content we've got coming up over the channel on the next 7 days. Coming up this week on the Sports Corner, we've got a whole range of content, including wrestling based around WrestleMania, so do keep your eyes out on the channel for all of the content Rowan's uploading this week. And talking about Rowan, he'll be back on Saturday morning for Adelaide United, taking on Western Sydney Wanderers on A-League Saturdays. Saturday night, I'll be live from 7:55 for El Clasico. It is going to be a fantastic game as the title race begins to get closer and closer. And then Champions League action on Tuesday, Chelsea with a 2-0 lead over Porto, and PSG 3-2 up on Bayern, but who will win, we'll have to find out. Same on Wednesday night, Dortmund currently 2-1 down to Man City, and Liverpool 3-1 down to Real Madrid, who will come out on top with the second leg of quarter-final action coming up on Thursday. That's your week on the Sports Corner. So there's a look at some of the content to come. As we said, big week, not just in darts, but with football. We've got those second legs of the Champions League and the Europa League. That's coming up on Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday night. And then El Clasico on Saturday. That'll probably be one of the last streams I think I'll be doing for the week. There might be another stream here and there, depending on if I need to jump in at any point. But as we said, I'll probably most likely be back for the darts. Not probably, definitely will be back for the darts on the 19th of April. But let's just go over what we witnessed a moment ago. For me, could be in contention for Game of the Night. I think maybe even for Aspinall, the performance of the night, he played out of his skin in this game, but in the end, just wasn't able to go on and get a victory against a Michael van Gerwen that started the night pretty much, I would say, in a similar vein to the James Wade match, where he was averaging really low. But he got himself back into the game and he did really well indeed. And when you actually look at the stats of the game, there were only 3 180s. And quite recently, MVG's not been hitting the 180s as much as I think people would expect him to. He didn't get any in this match. All 3 of those went to Nathan Aspinall. But Aspinall in this match, he averaged 105.38, which will probably be one of his highest averages. In fact, it will be the highest average that he's got in the Premier League so far this season. As for Michael van Gerwen, just under 100 at 99.71. But what a start we had to the game. The first 3 legs all had ton-plus checkouts, including a 1-4-8 from Michael van Gerwen and a 1-2-1 from Nathan Aspinall. And in terms of the checkouts, both players really good tonight. It was a very enjoyable game. Aspinall, 75% on his doubles. Really, really good checkout success there. That's 6 out of 8. As for Michael van Gerwen, 54.55%, 6 out of 11 on doubles. And I think he'll be probably thinking maybe Van Gerwen, I could have won this match. But I think Aspinall will also be thinking in his head, how did I not win the match as well? So both players, when you even it out, is probably a fairly respectable result overall in terms of how the game panned out. And I think for Aspinall, when you look at the table, I know this is the table from earlier tonight, but he will move up to 6 points now in the league. He'll go, I think, to 3rd place with 2 wins, 2 draws and a loss. As for Michael van Gerwen, 2 wins, 2 draws and a loss. The same record as Nathan Aspinall. Just a very, very decent start for both players. I think a much better start for Aspinall, who lets I haven't actually put the odds up tonight. The odds for Nathan Aspinall to actually win this tournament are 14-1. That was as of this morning on Sky Bet, which is quite surprising in my opinion. I actually thought, with the way he started, maybe those odds would have been maybe a little bit less than 14-1. But we'll go through some of that stuff in a little moment's time. As Wasim's in the building. How are we doing, my friend? He said, hey mate, Wadey's going to win big, he feels. We'll have to find out in a little moment. We'll talk about that game in a second. But let's just have a quick look at the odds to reach the semi-final. We are now at that stage of the competition where I think it's a little bit better to also look at the odds for these players to get to the semi-finals of the competition. And as it stands, Michael van Gerwen is currently 1-16 to get to the semi-finals. His odds have improved massively as the tournament's gone on. Same for Peter Wright, 1-2 to make the semi-finals. And pretty much when you look at the entirety of the 5 players on the picture here, Jonny, Clayton, Van den Bergh, Gary Anderson, they're all at relatively decent odds. Although some of these odds will have changed based on the action that we've seen over the last hour and a half to 2 hours. And then when we look at the rest of the pack, Glen Durrant, you can't actually get any odds on him in terms of winning the Premier League or making the semi-finals. The bookies just believe that it's just so unlikely for him to do it that there's no point offering odds. But even then, look at the rest of the pack. You can tell it's a close Premier League this year. There is only 2 players pretty much above 1-1 odds, which is absolutely incredible. And fair play, because it just proves how close this Premier League really is this season. And then when you have to look at the odds to win, Michael van Gerwen at 6-1. You can see once again Michael van Gerwen and Peter Wright running the show in terms of the predictions. Dimitri van den Bergh at 13-1 for me is a very, very good shout. So if you're a punter and you're maybe still thinking on who to back, maybe Dimitri van den Bergh might be the one to back, of course. It's a big weekend of racing as well, isn't it? So be a lot of ACCAs going on over the weekend, that's for sure. But we'll move on now from this game between Michael van Gerwen and we'll move on to the game now between James Wade and Glen Durrant. I don't know what's gone on. 2 seconds here. There we go. Apologies if it lagged there for a second. It's every single time I move over onto Photoshop. It does not like it. But we'll move over on to the next game now. James Wade taking on Glen Durrant. Yeah, this could be a tough match to watch. If you're a Glen Durrant fan, the last 4 nights have been tough to watch. It's been poor, hasn't it, for Durrant? Things haven't been going. Every press conference that everybody's done, they're trying to jeer him on and give him the support that he needs to go out there and get a result. But just so far in the competition for Glen Durrant, nothing seems to be working. And well, I think there's a lot of people, and many people, already feeling like he's out of the competition, and he will not be here when it comes to after judgment night. And if he can get a win in this game, let's look at it from the outside perspective. If he was to get a win tonight, Glen Durrant is back in the driving seat to potentially stay up, because it will give him a confidence boost. It will give him a chance at survival, because remember that the players towards the bottom end of the table, which we'll look at now, James Wade and Jose de Souza. James Wade will not move up if he was to lose tonight. Jose de Souza, if he wins, I think Glen Durrant still has a chance at survival. It'd be hard for him, but if Wade was to win tonight, and if de Souza wins, I think it's over. I think Glen Durrant will start to look and think his Premier League campaign will be done before we've even finished, just as we finish the first phase of games. It will be tough for him to get 4 or 5 points without the rest of the pack moving up and getting points themselves. So it feels like a real massive opportunity for Durrant to go out there and give himself some fire in the belly and go and get the victory. As for James Wade, he knows tonight, get a victory, he'll move up into get 5 points. He'll be up there with the likes of Gary Anderson and Rob Cross on those 5 points. So if he can get that, he's back in the contention for the top 4 again. And this has a lot riding on it. But I did make a prediction for this game. Now, as I've said with the other ones, when James Wade has been involved, this prediction was made after the tournament had started, because I know, of course, Gerwyn Price was ruled out. But this is my prediction for the game. Do tell me yours in the chat, and I will read some of yours out in just a few moments. Game number 4 now of the night, and it's going to see James Wade coming up against Glen Durrant. And look, both of these players have not had the greatest starts to life in the Premier League. Of course, Glen Durrant winning it last year, he's really struggled big time in this tournament so far. And as for James Wade, he had a pretty decent start against Gary Anderson, but since then he's struggled quite a bit. Now, I am recording this a day before that match takes place, so tonight maybe James Wade could have beat MVG, but I'd probably back the Dutchman to go and win that match. So I'm going to give Glen Durrant a chance. I gave him a chance against Dimitri van Bergh. He lost 7-0, and he's just in that situation where all he needs is one game to get himself some confidence, and he might start getting back on a winning run again. But look, it's been tough for both players. I think James Wade, the fact he hasn't been able to practice might have actually hindered him quite a bit, just on the pure fact he didn't expect to be here. And as for Glen Durrant, as I said before, the performances have been poor, and he just needs to get out of that rot. And I'm backing him to do it tonight, on the last night before we go into the break. Could be a real good confidence booster for him if he does. I'm going to go for a 6-6 draw, as I said before, but do tell me your prediction in the chat for the penultimate game of tonight's action in the Premier League. So there's my prediction for the game. Look, I think everybody tonight, apart from a few, will be probably punting on James Wade to win this. And that's expected. I think a lot of people will be thinking, James Wade will be a heavy favourite to win this, especially after his performance yesterday against Michael van Gerwen. It was one of those games where he came out, as I said earlier in the stream, in the press conference after the match, and he said, look, I'm not going to beat around the bush and say I played well. I played a good game against Michael van Gerwen, but I didn't play great. But Van Gerwen didn't play good, and I took advantage of it. And I think tonight he'll be expected to play better. Durrant has to play better regardless. I don't want to sit and beat around the bush at the fact he's got to go out there and get something. But look, this could be Glen Durrant's... he's not confirmed to be relegated tonight. Let's not forget that. There's a long way to go. But this will feel like a relegation 2-pointer for Glen Durrant. Not for James Wade. I think James Wade will be quite calm and comfortable tonight. He always is. You never see any reaction from him. But I think it's a relegation 2-pointer. And as Chloe's perfectly said in the chat, and it's something I didn't even take into account, is that he would also need to win a few of his next games by a big leg difference due to the fact he's already on -20. So that has cost him massively in this tournament. And look, I think let's hope tonight Durrant puts on a show. Let's hope that this is the game where the confidence comes, because if he can win this game, yes, his leg difference might be quite heavily poor, but go out there, put a good performance in, and then when he does come back in 10 days' time, he might feel like a completely different player to the Glen Durrant we've seen over the last 4 nights. So without further ado, both players just going to have a few practice starts. And I do want to quickly ask as well on stream, I know there's a lot of you who are the regulars on the channel and some of you that are new, that have come for the first time on the Premier League of Darts. Is there anything on these streams that can be improved? Is there certain things you'd like to see? Maybe that I can make before each night like I do with the videos. Is there anything that can be improved upon? I think it's always important to find out from the viewers yourselves where to improve with these streams. So if there's anything what can be improved, or if you just enjoy it, then do say in the chat, and hopefully I've got a few little ideas of things we could do with the next batch of games that might include a few little giveaways for you guys for the support that you've brought. But definitely do say in the chat, as both players have the lowest Premier League career averages despite both winning the title. That's an interesting stat. Let's hope he's not a burden on the match overall. But a few more predictions here in the chat. And it's a bold one from Chloe. A confidence booster. She'd like to see a 9-darter from Durrant. And he said there was 2 tonight. We've got 2 games left. Maybe we could see a 9-darter from Durrant. That'd be nice. Daz has said like a Super 6. That, funnily enough, Daz, is one of the ideas I've got. Basically, for the next batch of rounds, I am thinking of doing a Sports Corner Super 6 where you guys guess the games, the scores. If nobody gets it right for that specific week, the prize, it won't be much at first, but the prize will then roll over to the next night. And if nobody wins it, then I keep the money. If somebody wins it, brilliant, you win some money. So that is an idea I've got in mind for the next round, which I'm looking to do. So that might be something we bring on in 10 days' time. But if there's anything else I said, put it in the chat. In terms of your predictions, Daz saying 7-0 Wade. He thinks it's going to be another whitewash tonight for Glen Durrant. Chris going 7-5. And then Wasim says, my 6-game ACCA just needs Durrant minus 2.5 legs against Wade. Very best of luck. How much does that return, Wasim? You'll have to tell us as we get underway. As Brocker says, I like seeing you drunk. An amazing commentary. Night 4 on here. Well, do you know what? Night 4's the only night where I actually felt a little bit tipsy. Night 1, 2 and 3, I felt fine. In night 5 tonight, I've not really drunk much so far. And I don't know whether that's the fact that I am feeling it, but I'm slowly sipping through these cans. I might have a few left for next week, even better. But no, I'm happy to become the resident alcoholic of the darting community. I will say I'm not like the other watch-along streams out there. I'm not like Clash of the Tungsten, Darts Referee, Edgar, all those that do watch-alongs. They have the knowledge. They have the wisdom. I feel like, you know that picture that goes round on Twitter and stuff of the army guys with the guns, and then there's the clown? I'm the court jester of the darts community, and I love it. I absolutely love it. As everybody's saying the Super 6 sounds good. Well, as I said, that's something I'm going to look into. I'm going to get it sorted out. I'm just thinking of how to work it and such. But I'm definitely thinking of bringing that, because you guys have brought the support. And there might be a chance here for a 180 from Dozer, which he won't go for. But good start from Glen Durrant. He's down to 84. James Wade at 120, which he's going to try and take out. He's got 1 dart at tops. And he doesn't. So Durrant with a chance to take the lead for the first time in the Premier League this season. Big moment, you feel. And he was all right with his finishing in the early stages of his game against Gary Anderson. He was 100% at one point, but that's purely because he only had 1 go at doubles and he took it. But he's got a chance here to check out 84 and double 12. And he just doesn't. It's unlucky there for Dozer. And a chance for James Wade to take a 1-0 lead on double 10. We've got 2 darts left here and he takes it out. And that's a 1-0 lead for James Wade. And look, if I was Dozer, don't worry about it. Good first leg from him. Very nearly took the first leg to his name. As Chloe's saying, stick it. I'll say 7-5 done. I mean, he's got to win at some point, right? Or just a point. As he's in at 180! Oh, we love to see it. And of course, Russ Bergh tonight isn't screaming and shouting the 180s because of the whole Prince Philip thing, but James Wade trying to match, which he doesn't. Imagine if 9-darter on a night like this. Russ Bergh doesn't even shout it. But he's got 4 treble 20s. Oh, he didn't get the 5th one. There was a part of me for a second, and I literally said it at the beginning of the stream, we can't get too excited at every treble 20, but Oh, it's a shame that. I thought Chloe's prediction, we might have at least had a chance at a 9 darter there for Durrant, but he's down to 2-2-1 here after 6 starts. James Wade at 2-3-6. And he's really started on the right foot here. I mean, Chris saying Van der Bergh's hitting the 9 darter tonight, so then all the debutants have got it. But Chloe predicted 2. We'd like 2. That'd be nice. But I don't think we're going to get that, sadly. Might be the first night for the last 2 days where we don't get a 9 darter. We've been starved of one. So Durrant here, 1-1-6 chance to check out. Gets treble 1 to start, which is not good, but he will be coming back. He's got another one again. He's got to focus here. As he hits a treble 20, and that's a good redeeming dart there after the last 2 darts. He's down to 52. We've Wade at 1-3-6. And you would expect here a chance for Glen Durrant to make it 1-1 in this game. And the ones there, the treble 1 and the 1, actually could turn into a happy little accident. Because he's going to leave him with a chance here to go either 12 and tops, which I think is what he's going to go for. Or he'll go for the double 16s instead, which is going to have 1 dart in hand. And he gets it. And there's a leg on the board for Glen Durrant. And we saw it yesterday against Gary Anderson. He started off in pretty fine fashion against him. The match was at 2-2, but James Wade's going to respond with 180. And well, I'm turning the sounds up. I know Russ Bray can't scream and shout tonight, but the 180s are going up. Sorry, lads, if it does pierce your ears. But Wade's on for a 9 darter, potentially, if he can get a few more treble 20s on the board. Which he isn't, so no 9 darter chance, but it's a shame tonight they can't scream. It will shout instead for the 180s for the last 2 games, why not? So Durrant here at 4-1, Wade at 2-2-1. Chris saying night 1 and 2 were warm-ups without 9 darters. You're not wrong. You're not wrong, it was a practice. A very good practice, at least. As Durrant's just having that little blip in the game now. Where he just doesn't seem to be able to get anything going. And Wade has a chance here to maybe just start to creep away in this 3rd leg. But Wade responds with a 57 of his own. And he's at 164 here. Durrant's going to have to get a 180 if he wants any chance of getting something in this leg, which he's not going to get a 180, but 100, he's still not good enough, really, if we're being honest. As there's a chance here for Wade to check out 164, gets treble 20, goes for the 1, which wasn't intended, of course, and he will be coming back, and that's the positive. When playing Durrant right now, because he's not getting down to the lower scores quick enough, you don't have to take out these 160s and 140 checkouts. You can go for lower ones because you probably know there's going to be time to check those out. Does ask where's the other lads? They don't watch darts, so it's just me. You get me all the time. You love it. But I think no doubt tonight they'll probably be watching the Premier League action with the Wolves Fulham game, you would assume. As Glen Durrant here at 145. He's going to have to check this out, you feel. With James Wade at 99. Starts with a 20, Durrant. Still got a chance to check it out. Which he hasn't now, sorry. But he will get 105 to leave tops if James Wade doesn't get the 9. Which, in fact, he's hit 9. So he's going to have 1 dot at double 4. He's going to have to take this out. Which he does. And literally, as I think Glen Durrant must have been thinking in his head, I'm going to have a chance here for tops. There's a little grin on James Wade's face. You won't notice it. But there was a little smile as he was walking back, and I think he must have thought that Glen Durrant was ready to take on the tops. But looking at the averages right now, Glen Durrant's averaging 96. James Wade is averaging 91. Doesn't feel like it, but it's certainly a much better sign of Glen Durrant's improvement in this game so far. He just needs to make sure that Wade doesn't get a 2-3-4 leg lead, or else that's when maybe the doubts start to creep in for Mr. Glen Durrant. As Chris has put, if Liverpool, Carlisle and England aren't on, then I watch the darts if darts is on. You always watch the darts, Chris. You can never miss it. As there's a chance for a 180 here for James Wade, and he gets it. And there's another 180 on the board. That's now 150. League 180s. Certainly getting plenty of them, that's for sure, in this competition. I'd be intrigued to know what's the highest amount of 180s in a Premier League season. I'll have to find that out at some point. Because I know we're going to be a long, long way away from it. But it always feels like year on year there's more and more 180s. And well, I mean, we've had 2 9-darters, so that's 18 perfect 180s, isn't it? As Wade's down to 1-2-1 here. Glen Durrant at 2-4-5. And again, look, just Durrant now gets himself 135. And he will have a chance maybe to take out the 110 unless James Wade gets the 1-2-1. Big moments in the game you feel here for Glen Durrant. Which he's going to actually have a chance to take out the 110 with Wade at 1-2-1. And if he can make it 2-2, then this will be a much more even game than I think Wade would have expected. He gets treble 20. He's going to have 1 dart at double 16. He's hit the treble 18. He's bust it. Oh, it's so unlucky. And for a second there, I thought it was actually alright, but he hasn't. And you can see the reaction from him because James Wade capitalises on the 64. And as Durrant hits the treble 18, it's so unlucky. James Wade now takes a 2-leg lead. And it's moments like that where, you know, when you're not in form, it can just come back and things just won't go your way. And that was one of those where things were just not right, was it, for Glen Durrant? Really unfortunate for him. But James Wade now with a 2-leg lead. He'll be feeling like he's in a much better position in this game now than he was about 5 minutes ago. And the worry here is now that just dwindles Glen Durrant's confidence and the average slowly starts to drop. As Chris saying the referees are shouting 180 like they're doing backstage Pro Tour events tonight. It's a shame. It's a shame. I don't get why they can't shout 180s, but as I said, it's something I'll not get into on today. Maybe I can get into it at some point. We'll have the fireworks and that back tomorrow, I'd guess. Either that or it's an extremely big budget cut from the PDC for the last night. And maybe they just took the fireworks out a little early. Or they're saying that. I'd assume they'd probably just keep up everything in the stadium because there's not like there's going to be anything going on for the next 10 days, is there? To be a bit of a waste having to... I'm going to say not waste, but it'd be a bit of hassle, wouldn't it, to have to set it up, then take it down, then set it up again, all in the space of 10 days. There's James Wade. He's at 249. Durrant at 272. Just keeping himself in this leg here, does he? And we've seen a few times tonight, players in this exact position where they were 3-1 down, and they just clawed their way back into the game. I think Glen Durrant needs to do that here, or they're saying that. Unless he gets 100 plus, James Wade will have a chance to make it 4-1 with his score at 152. But he's going to have a much better position here. Durrant. As he gets 130 to leave 142. So maybe a chance here for Wade to check out the 152 with a double 16. Oh yes! It's 4-1. And there's a little reaction there from James Wade because that was a quality finish. And we've had a lot of ton plus finishes tonight. But that is an exceptional one from James Wade. A 152. He takes a 4-1 lead in this game. And surely now, if you're Glen Durrant, again, you are thinking, this is not a great night again, is it? And I'm looking at the average of Glen Durrant. He was around about the 96 mark. He has dropped down to 89.96. James Wade at 95.8. In terms of the actual stats of finishing, then Glen Durrant has had, well, according to this, he's had no opportunities at doubles. I think Flash Score's broken right now, so I can't actually look. But I'll see if I can find out the stats at the end of the match when we talk through it all. But James Wade here in a really, really good position to take a result. And Chris saying, for me, Durrant needs a break to sort himself out. Take a couple of months break before next big tournament, which is July. That'd be my advice. I reckon it could help him. He needs to do something. I mean, that's the thing is, though, I guess at the end of the day, he'll just want to get himself back into form. He'll be hoping that one of these games will come along and he'll win it. And that will be the confidence booster. to get him back into winning form, and he'll have the PDC Super Series in Germany, which, if he drops out of that, then I don't know when that is exactly, the next PDC Super Series, but if he drops out of that, then he's going to have a bit of extra time. Because remember, when the Premier League does finish in May, he's not probably going to be in the final, so... And if he does get booted out in Judgment Night, he will have May, June, July, where he's either going to only have floor events or the World Match Play at the end of the month. So, is there any of the the Nordic darts? Is that going on at some point as well? I know they've been tinkering around with the times for them. I think a lot of them have moved to next year because of COVID, of course. But I think there was one of them going ahead. I don't know when that is though. So if that's wedged in between, then maybe again, if he doesn't go to one of those, then that might give him a little bit more time to just have a break. But I feel like he feels like he could get back into the game a bit. I mean, as Chris said, Cross was out of form last year. All of a sudden now he's back to his usual self. But you have to look at it and then think Cross didn't take a break. The only breaks he would have had is when he's not playing. As there's a chance for a 1-2-2 check out for Durrant on the ball, but he hits the outer ball. And a chance here for James Wade to check out 74 at treble 18, double 10. He's going to have one dart left at double 10 here, which he gets, and it's 5-1, and it's these small margins in the match where Durrant hasn't taken stuff out. A man like James Wade is going to take out every opportunity, regardless of whether it's a 170 or a 124, and that's exactly what Wade has done tonight, and it's a really good performance. Continued in the same vein as what he did against MVG yesterday. As for Durrant, I mean, it's not nice to watch, is it? The legs on the table are going to be horrible to look at, and as I said before, for me, this will probably knock him. This will likely to knock him out. The fact he will have to gain so much more of a leg average would mean he'd have to win games like 7-0, 7-1, which, unless he comes out firing on all cylinders in the next round, I can't see that happening. And I think tonight we will be saying a pretty early goodbye, maybe, to Durrant, and it's a shame. But we'll have to see. You can never count anybody out. But Chris saying you could say Durrant already had breaks since winning Premier League. I don't know. It's strange. It is strange. It is weird. I'd wonder if I would be intrigued to know how much practice he's been doing, and I wonder if he's been maybe practicing a lot. What his practice sessions have been like. As we said, COVID again is another one of those things that just haven't helped him. He's really struggled with it. We said a few days ago, I think when Adrian Lewis was in the Ladbrokes Masters, he said about when he had COVID, even now the long-term effects of it have caused tiredness for long-term. And if anybody has had COVID or has still got long-term effects, then you can probably relate to Adrian Lewis at the very least with some of the symptoms of COVID. I mean, I can't myself because I haven't had it, but the whole thing of long-term tiredness is something that happens with it, and maybe Durrant he's just had a bit of that himself. But even then, he'll have been practicing a lot, as Wade's going to get himself down to 44 here. Does her at 128. Maybe a chance to make it 5-2. He got a ton plus finish yesterday, I think, does he? Has he got a chance to do it again? He's going to have to go treble 20 bull, which he's not going to get. So James Wade will be coming back here. We have 2 darts at tops for a 6-1 lead. And you would expect him to take it out here. First dart hits the 20. So he's going to double 10, which he doesn't get. And Duzzer will be back with a chance of double 18 to make it 5-2 in this game and just extend it a little bit longer for James Wade. Which he does. And that is double 18. So 5-2 now in this game. Another leg on the board for Durrant. Just to not give in the towel yet. He's got to keep going in this game. Get a few more legs back on the board and this will become a lot more intriguing, even though there's a lot of legs to get back. As Chris says, COVID could have an effect on Durrant. Had it after Premier League last year. I mean, look at Mane this season, non-existent. He has had COVID. Wonder that has effect. Yeah, as I said, I think it probably will have had an effect. I mean, the only player that it doesn't seem to have affected was Stephen Bunting. In fact, I don't know what it is, but COVID made him a better player. Strange, but... jokes aside, it's going to always affect players a little bit more than others. And I'm not going to sit here and blame it on COVID. Maybe it isn't. And mentally wise, we spoke earlier on in the stream about the psychology of players with Rob Cross and some of the stuff that was talked about him. But Glen Durrant, psychology-wise right now, must be feeling really, really low. As 4A Studios in the building, how you doing, my friend? He's asked, has there been a 160 checkout tonight? As far as I'm aware, there hasn't, no. No 160 checkout. Highest one of the night is 148 by MVG. Sorry, it's not 148. It was the 152 by James Wade. So we still haven't had a 160 yet tonight. Going to be relying on either James Wade to do it with a few more legs left, or Bergh and Souza, which, the way that those two have been playing, I'd be expecting 9 darters every leg. They've been ludicrously good for debutants. And I wonder if a few people after this night of action will be thinking, if there was someone that maybe said, get Bergh and Souza out, they're rubbish, we could have had Smith and Chizzy in there. I wonder if there's a few people looking back now and thinking, actually, maybe I was wrong. These debutants that have been added have made it a really tight Premier League. But he's going to have a chance to check out a 114 here, does it? Needs treble 18 double 20, which he's not going to get. But he will be coming back as he gets a chance to check out at 56. We've Wade back at 223, but how much pressure is he going to be under? The answer is a little bit, as Wade gets himself down to 124. So 2 darts at tops here to make it 5-3. And maybe a little bit of a chance for Souza to get back into the game. He's gone down 20 route for double 18. He's going to have 1 dart at double 9. And he doesn't get it. He hits the 9. And he's just got to keep his head up here. James Wade with a 1-2-4. We've seen a few ton plus finishes tonight, but we're not going to see one here from James Wade. And with 2 darts at double 4, there's a chance maybe for Souza to make it 5-3 and keep the hopes and dreams alive. But he needs to take it out first. He's gone for the 7s and double 1. Playing it safe here. And he gets it. So 5-3 now. And Souza, 2 legs back to back. And a real good confidence booster. As Daz has asked if you've seen Matt Edgar's partner's channel. I haven't, no. I didn't know his partner had got one. You'll have to tell me in the chat and I'll definitely give it a look at some point. I was watching Edgar's video the other day. I think he did one with Luke Humphries. Really interesting, actually, on their experience at the World Championship and the fact that they actually felt confident going onto stage, and maybe that was a bad thing for them, which was really interesting. You don't get to hear much about the mentality of darts players, and you know, when we did the interview with Devon Peterson, that was a real good insight into a dart player's life, and I'm hoping, as we said, we can maybe get another player in the future, maybe. If anybody's watching, it'd be nice. But no, if we can, that'd be great. But you always wonder in the back of your head the psychology of these players. What are they thinking when they take the shots? As James Wade here, he's actually looking like he's giving Durrant a chance to get back into this. He's at 261, does it? James Wade at 301. If you can get a few trebles here, Durrant, you might have a chance to make it 5-4. This is what you want to see. And he's got a 140, so he's down to 121. And he's averaging just under 90 right now, Souza. So still a little bit low, but I mean, James Wade is averaging 88.35. And we've said over the last few days, I think that the problem is sometimes when you play players in bad form and they're struggling, it's quite easy to get caught up in the act yourself and play poor, and that's what James Wade is doing right now. He's giving Glen Durrant every opportunity, but he's only got 36 here, so Durrant down to 85, a chance for James Wade to guarantee a point on 161, and we've seen him take out some pretty exquisite finishes in the Premier League so far, but a 161 is something he's not going to be able to take out, sadly, and a chance for Souza to make it 5-4 with a checkout on 85. He's got a 10 here, which might be a happy accident. He's gone for the bull, which means, again, I don't know what he's going to do here. He's going to have to leave himself in a decent position. He goes for the 9 and he'll leave himself at 16, but he might not have had a chance here because Glen Durrant might be stopped by James Wade if he hits tops. And he does. And it's a point guaranteed. And now Glen Durrant throws the towel again. Frustrated there at what he just did a moment ago. Hitting the bull instead of the outer bull. And now all Glen Durrant can do is try and win the next 3 on the bounce and guarantee a point. And he played really well in the last 3 legs. But that mistake there with the bull has just cost him big time. As Chris says, Van den Bergh will be top 4 consistent player in future. He's too good. People saying he's unfit. Well, look at him at the moment. Not bad for an unfit player. If that's him unfit, you wonder what he'll be like when he's fit, which I think is a very good point indeed. I like Van den Bergh. I think he's a very good player. Like what I said yesterday with him, if you go down the last 20 games that Van den Bergh's played, I'm pretty sure 3/4 of him he'll have averaged over 100 because he's just that good. And when you've been in a house with Peter Wright, practicing with the former world champion, you get yourself into quite an act. And I think Jose de Souza was saying, I think he was on Sky Sports, that they are, I think it was him, Damon Heta and Van den Bergh were all moving into a house together over the lockdown period in England. So that must be a bloody good household. There'll be a lot of 180s and maybe 9 darters in that household as they practice all the time together. But does it here? Just maybe letting James Wade into the game now as he gets a 140. I've got really itchy nose. Apologies. Don't know what it is. Oh, very itchy tonight. So Wade at 180. Glen Durrant at 274. Going to need a few trebles on the board, which he doesn't get. And only 81. Just leaves him only 13 points behind Wade, but he's going to have some catching up to do. As James Wade here leaves himself with a chance at tops to seal the deal. So Glen Durrant, all he can do now is put some pressure on James Wade hitting tops. But I think this is going to be a 5th consecutive defeat, for Glen Durrant as James Wade takes tops with his first dart. And it's a 7-3 win for James Wade. And Glen Durrant with a 5th consecutive defeat in the Premier League. And Souza will be going home after the first period of play with 0 points on the board. And look, there were points in the game where you felt like Souza could have actually got back into the match. But the key moment, which I think changed the game, was that moment where he hit the bull instead of the outer bull. And it cost him a chance to maybe make the game. I think it would have been 5-4 at that point and really close the gap on James Wade, who arguably, as I've said multiple times in the past, just got into a bit of a mojo where he probably thought he could win the game fairly easily. But Glen improved as the match went on. He found himself 1 or 2 chances. But look, it's just not to be for Glen Durrant. And I think, as many people will also agree, that will be the result that costs Glen Durrant his place in the Premier League, and he will no doubt become the first defending Premier League champion to be relegated after his season of winning the competition. It's a shame. It's a shame, and he will bounce back. And we've said it every single night that he's a great, great player on his day, but it's just not clicking for him right now. And I have to say tonight, I think James Wade played really poor as well. It's one of those results where I think in his press match, when he talks to the interviewers, the post-match one, there we go, that's the one I wanted to say. He will definitely say tonight, I played terrible, I played awful, I was bloody rubbish, and for the next time when I'm back, I need to improve massively, because that's what James Wade is like. He's a very honest person when it comes to how he plays. He doesn't really sugarcoat it. When he's bad, he'll tell you it's bad. When it's good, he'll say it's good. But for Glen Durrant, I'd like to see an interview with Glen Durrant, but I don't think we'll get one, just purely because it's been so tough for him right now, and I don't think he'll want to do interviews when he's lost 5 on the bounce. But you never know. As Ignacio's in the building, put nice shirt. Thank you very much indeed. I do like this one. It's very nice on me. But yeah, James Wade, 7-3 win. We'll go through all of the stats of that match in just a moment's time. We'll look at what it means for James Wade in terms of the Premier League table, and also what it means for Glen Durrant and the future ahead. But If you are new to the stream, as I always say in every break, because it pads out the time nice and easily, don't forget to leave a like and subscription on the channel if you are new. We are pushing towards 2,100 subscribers on the channel. A massive thank you to all of you guys, because you did actually get us up to 2,000 subscribers this week. So really, really big thank you to all of you for getting us up there. But we've got a whole host of content coming over the next week, some big action, not just in darts, but in football. Take a look at this. There's lots of content to come here on the Sports Corner. If it would play, that'd be nice. It's not working. Let me try again. There we go.
This week on the Sports Corner, we've got a whole range of content, including wrestling based around WrestleMania, so do keep your eyes out on the channel for all of the content Rowan's uploading this week. And talking about Rowan, he'll be back on Saturday morning for Adelaide United, taking on Western Sydney Wanderers on A-League Saturdays. Saturday night, I'll be live from 7:55 for El Clasico. It is going to be a fantastic game as the title race begins to get closer and closer. And then Champions League action on Tuesday, Chelsea with a 2-0 lead over Porto, and PSG 3-2 up on Bayern, but who will win, we'll have to find out. Same on Wednesday night, Dortmund currently 2-1 down to Man City, and Liverpool 3-1 down to Real Madrid, who will come out on top with the second leg of quarter-final action coming up on Thursday. That's your week on the Sports Corner.
So there you go, big week in football. We've got El Clasico on Saturday, we've got the champions in the Europa League on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Lots of content as always, and no doubt some big action to come. But in terms of how the Premier League table stands, James Wade moves up into 7th on 5 points. What a table this is looking, by the way. Glen Durrant on 10th on 0 points with a minus 24 difference. This table is nuts. 2 points separate first and 8th. Gary Anderson is literally in the bottom 3 right now, but he's only 2 points away from finishing top of the league if he, of course, was to win a few games by quite the margin. That's how tight the Premier League is. And for all those people that were whinging and moaning about the fact that it wasn't going to be competitive enough with Clayton and Van den Bergh and De Souza, I think a lot of them have eaten the words, because we've got a great Premier League, haven't we? Every person can beat each other, and it's making it so good to watch. And when we do come back for that second section of games, it's going to be very exciting to see how it all goes down. But if you want to follow us on social media, don't forget you can do. Keep up to date with when we go live on YouTube, as well as when we post articles up on our website. First of all, we have our Twitter, which is @the_top corner. Recommend always following on there. That's the main place where we put up when we go live, as well as our articles. But do also check out our Instagram, because we do put our stuff up on there. That's _sports corner_. There are links in the description, by the way, for those social media pages. And then, of course, we have our website, which has got new content all the time. Kieran D's been writing some stories about everything that's been going on in the Champions League and the Europa League this week, so check out those articles. They are on the sports-corner.com. Of course, that link is in the description as always. And also, you might have noticed, there is a join button on the stream. We have a new option available, which is the Sports Corner Premium, which is going to be our premium service for our loyal members, where you'll get exclusive content, a little bit like a Patreon, basically, for a small fee. For those of you that maybe are interested in it, here's a little look at our premium content. Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for joining me for this press conference today. Now, you're probably wondering why I have announced this press conference at half-time of your stream. And first of all, I want to say, on the Sports Corner, for months now, we have been thinking of introducing a premium service for our loyal viewers, where you guys can pay a small fee to get involved with a whole host of exclusive bonus features and content that other viewers can't get. And I am today, as the manager of the Sports Corner, delighted to announce that the Sports Corner Premium is now available on our YouTube channel. Now, I've got people on this side of the room, some journalists, asking me how much is it going to cost, and I can tell you it's only going to cost you £4.99 a month, and there'll only ever be one level, so everybody can get involved for the right price. And there's a few journalists on this side of the room also asking me, well, what features do you get as part of your subscription? And I can tell you, my friend, that some of the features will involve exclusive badges, which are based on tiers, and you will get new badges based on your 1st, 3rd, 6th, 9th, 12th and 24th month as part of our Sports Corner Premium package. And that does involve, in your 24th month, getting a very exclusive Sports Corner Gold badge that only a few will get into that exclusive club. Could you be the first? And then also, we will be doing some exclusive streams on our channel. These will involve new podcasts available for our members, as well as darting streams where I'll play some of you guys on our live streams. On top of gaming streams, these will involve sport-orientated games, including the likes of FIFA and Football Manager. But those streams will only be available to our members for £4.99. There'll be a range of other big features that we'll be announcing in the coming months. That will be in our community section of the channel. And we'll also have, of course, other features. These will involve playing some of you guys in FIFA and darts when we're not live, as well as also giving you the option of having a few shouts outs on stream. So don't forget, £4.99 is all that you need to pay for exclusive Sports Corner premium package. Why not be the first to join today? And who knows, you could be the first to get the Sports Corner crown. So thank you everybody for attending my press conference. I'm out. So that's all the advertising out of the way for now. Get that done and dusted while we can. Let's talk about that game between James Wade and Glen Durrant, what we watched a moment ago. Very good match for James. Well, actually, I'm lying. It wasn't a good match, was it, if we're being honest? That's me lying. James Wade, I think, as I said, he won't be happy with how he played tonight. It wasn't good enough, in my opinion, but it was good enough because it was Glen Durrant. And just right now, it's so hard to watch for Glen Durrant with the way that he's been playing. He's struggling big time, and hopefully he can get back to his best as soon as possible. But that game, I mean, 2 180s for James Wade, 1 180 for Glen Durrant, a 90.82 average for James Wade, and an 87.69 average for Glen Durrant. I think the problem was, as I said earlier, I think James Wade got too drawn in on the fact that Glen Durrant was playing bad, which caused his game to just drop slightly. And that, for me, was a massive problem. And no doubt tonight, when all this is done, whenever he does that post-match conference with the likes of Online Darts and stuff, when they ask him questions, he will say he played bad tonight. And I think he will also try and jeer on Glen Durrant, who all he can do for now is play for pride when he comes back. And hopefully when he does come back, he'll be in much better spirits, fingers crossed. But let's move on to the last game of the night now. Bergh coming up against Souza. And for me, I said earlier that the Van Gerwen Aspinall game was up there for potential game of the night. I think this one has got quite the authority to be up there as well for game of the night, because these two have been playing fantastically well. Absolutely brilliant indeed overall. Apparently it says 7-1. My apologies. Let me change that up. Thank you very much, Chloe, for the heads up there. Yeah, both of these players have been playing brilliantly well in the tournament so far. Dimitri van den Bergh has been on fire, getting 100-plus averages. And then also, De Souza has been brilliant overall in the tournament with some incredible moments. The 11 180s, the 9 darters, and the miscounts that he's had twice now in the space of a week. But do you know what? Let's have a mixture of that tonight. Chris was saying he thinks there was going to be a 9 dart for van den Bergh. Why not have it? It'd be very nice indeed. But for the last time this week, I made my prediction for this game as both players are just coming out onto the Oki now. The question is, who did I predict at the start of the tournament? Here's who I guessed. And here we are, night number 5 of the Premier League of Darts. If you've made it to this stage, thank you very much for sticking with us on the Sports Corner throughout the last week. No doubt you've seen Josh in some terrible, terrible states over the last week. But this is it, the final night for 10 days before we have a nice little 10-day break. Coronavirus restrictions get lifted, so I'll have had a haircut, I'll look fresh, ready for the next batch of matches. But we've got 5 brilliant games to end the first little bit of action at the Premier League of Darts. It includes Van Gerwen up against Aspinall. We've got Wright up against Rob Cross. Gerwyn Price against Glen Durrant. Some big opportunities for those top 3 players to maybe get a few wins on the board. But have I given them wins, or are they going to be coming out maybe with no points on the final night of action? Let's go into our predictions. First game up is Gary Anderson against Jonny Clayton. Should be a mouth-watering clash. Clash of the Titans then, this one. We're about to get underway with the action. There was my prediction before the tournament. Is it going to be correct or not? We'll have to find out. But no dancing Dimitri tonight. I think we know why. It's been a bit of a... It's been a good evening, but at the same time, I think everything has been toned down because of what's been going on in the world today. But last game of the Premier League for 10 days. That's right. We've got to wait 10 days for another game. What we're going to do? We're going to go absolutely mental. But this should be a good one. If both players can continue in the form that they have done over the last few weeks, nights even, then this should be an absolute barnstormer of a match with both players averaging well over 100. and 9 darters left, right, and centre. But as I said, Chris was optimistic. He thinks tonight Dimitri van den Bergh is hitting a 9 darter. He's even said in the chat, who's looking forward to Van den Bergh hitting a 9 darter in this match? I hope you've got money on it, Chris. I hope you've put some money on it. As Chloe's put, me, Chris, I've been waiting for a 9 darter all night. We would need them 2 9 darters in the match to get my prediction, but I'll accept one. No, let's have 2. Why not? But these are the 2 heavy scorers this season. Yet both, I didn't get to read the rest of that, that's a shame. But the 2 heavy scorers either way. And, I mean, both of them, throughout the tournament, averaging over 100. As Prezmek's asked, when does Ratajski play? He's not in the tournament, Prezmek, unfortunately. I think the next time Ratajski will actually play a game is... I think he'll be at the Pro Tour in Germany. But that's not for a little while, so... I don't know when we will next see him, but that should be in Germany. But he's not in the Premier League, sadly. As we just have a few more practice darts here. And we get underway for the final game in the Premier League of Darts for tonight. And it will be Dimitri van den Bergh who gets us underway. As Osti van Osterman went, I went to a seafood disco last week. Pulled a muss. Oh, no. If Kieran L was in the building, you'd have him in stitches with that one. But, oh dear. Basically, there's a guy, Osti van Osterman, on the stream called Peter Raymond. You might have seen him. He pops in and out sometimes. He always comes in and tells the worst of jokes. And Chris can agree with me. There's some good ones. There's the odd good one here and there. But then, for every one good one, there's 100 bad ones. And I'll let you off this one. So as we get underway with this game. And Dimitri van den Bergh here looking to get a 180 on the board. And there we go. There's the first 180. And we've got the sounds up tonight because George Noble has been told to be quiet. But we're not quiet in here. We're rowdy. We're party people. And that's what we want to do when there's a 180. As Van den Bergh is at 264 here. De Souza at 257. Osti van Osman saying, I've seen him give hate to my YouTube darts mate. Has he? Ooh. Did not know that. He always comes in here and he just says jokes. Always. Just pops in, says a few jokes and then leaves. But never had any issues with him. But didn't know he was doing that. I'll keep a note of that in my head. Thank you very much, Osti. As Van den Bergh down to 142 here. Treble 20 ball, double 16. Is there a chance maybe for Van den Bergh to get a ton plus finish on the board early on? The answer is no, he's not going to be able to. As Daz is predicting De Souza to win this 7-1. I mean, that would be quite the surprise if De Souza was to do that. In terms of the predictions, Chloe's saying 7-5 to Dimitri, and they're going to be 10 180s, which would be absolutely massive. And then I don't think Chris has made a prediction for this one. Prezimek, Ratajski doesn't play. He's not in this tournament. His YouTube name is Clash the Tungsten. Know him. Been in his streams a few times. Has he been in there before? I did not know that. I do watch Clash of the Tungsten from time to time when I get a chance. But I did not know he's in there. As De Souza checks out 57 and gets himself a 1-0 lead in this game against Dimitri van den Bergh. Where is Clash of the Tungsten tonight, Osti? I swear he said he was streaming. I'm pretty sure I saw, and I don't know whether it was yesterday, but I swear he said he was streaming today. I might have just lost the plot, but I'm pretty sure I saw early on today he said he was streaming at 7 o'clock. Which is why when, I think somebody said in the chat earlier, I'm the only one doing a watch-along tonight. I thought, what? That can't be right. But De Souza at 140, gets 140 to leave 361. Van den Bergh's going to match that 140. As Chris says he's put £5 on it, get £200 if it happens. Very best of luck, Chris. Let's hope that 9 darter does happen. But this is going to be, I think, a relentless game. That's what you'd expect. Both players, debutants, full of confidence, and somehow Jose De Souza sat at 2 points makes no sense, doesn't it? With the way that we've seen the last 2 games and the way he's played, it's ludicrous at the fact he's sat there with only 2 points. But he is. And Chloe's saying, poor Fulham, yeah, it's not good for them, is it? It's a shame. As Osti says, he was meant to be streaming tonight, but his software was playing up, so he decided to play for some. That's fair. That's fair. That's why I was confused. I was like, am I the only one doing one? It's what I was saying before. The whole thing with watchalongs in darts, it's something that people don't really do. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. You know, when you compare it to other sports like football, for example, there's so many people that do football watchalongs. It's unreal. But darts is very exclusive, and I'm honoured to be an exclusive group of people. As I said, I feel like I'm the court jester of the watchalong darts community. I'm not the same. Which I guess you don't want anyone to be the same, but I'm quite different. I'd say probably bonkers compared to the rest. A bit of an alcoholic as well. But De Souza here at 115. Treble 2013, double 20. That's why I was in here a lot tonight. That's fair. It's good to have you, my friend. I think I followed you back on Twitter quite recently when I saw your... when you followed me. Nice to have the darts community following us on here. I mean, I've had a lot of people asking in the past to make a separate darts channel, which it'd be quite cool, but with the way that we've got this channel set up, and now we know we can multi-stream, we're pretty much good to go to stream darts here all the time, which is brilliant. As De Souza has a chance here at a 55 checkout. It's gone horribly wrong, though. He's only going to have one dart now, which is at double 16. In fact, he's going to go tops for 2-0, which he doesn't get. And a chance here for double 18. Big moment in the game. Apparently it was Adama Traore. Bloody hell, Adama Traore scored. I swear he's not scored for about 500 years. It's a double 18 for Van den Bergh to make it 1-1, which he does. And that's a good finish from Dimitri van den Bergh. And for the first few legs, the Belgian has struggled in many games this week to get his finishing going. But that was a very nice finish. And a nod of approval there from his fellow debutant, Jose de Souza. And these are the quality players that we've got. The fact that these are debutants and they're running the show in the Premier League just shows how... Well, it just shows how good the standard of darts is right now. I think this is... and a lot of people were saying, the days of the Bristow and that were high quality, but this is on another level, isn't it? With the way some of the players are these days. Averaging 100 plus consistently is ludicrous. Well, fair play to them. They've all trained hard. As Dimitri van den Bergh gets 80 here to start off the third leg. But it's okay, because De Souza's only got 361 himself. Can we maybe see the first 180 of this match? It's an interesting one. What's the averages in the first 3 legs? 96 for Jose de Souza. 90.97 for Van den Bergh. So a little bit of a slow start. But you'd expect this game to increase in pace as it continues on. Of course, both players have done brilliantly well. Van den Bergh, I think, could still go top tonight if he wins, which is a massive, massive confidence booster. Especially when Van Gerwen, Aspinall have all dropped points. Cross will be happy, and Anderson, that nobody else has picked up points, which is why the table is so tight. 2 points separating first and 8th. I think when we do come back after the break, it is going to be topsy-turvy. Gary Anderson one week could be sat in 8th place. The next he could be in 2nd or 3rd. It's just how good it is. As Daz says he'll send a link. Thank you very much, lad. As De Souza had a chance to check out 104 there. He's not going to be able to. And Chris says he's jinxed it now he's put a bet on. But then if you hadn't, you would have wished you would. That's the best way to look at it. So De Souza will come back though. Dimmy at 206. Not been the best of starts for the Belgian, has it, in terms of scoring. And De Souza, we have a chance to make it 2-1. With 3 darts at double 8. First dart misses, but he's a good marker. And apparently it's just ended 1-0 to Wolves as well. Goal must have been in the last minute as De Souza hits the double 8 with his last dart. And it's 2-1 to the Portuguese. As, it's bad for Fulham, isn't it, now? I feel that game against... who was it they played quite recently? It was Villa, wasn't it? That game against Villa was a massive loss. Especially when they were leading in the game as well. That Wolves one, if they got a point, that would have been a massive confidence booster. But especially how poor Wolves have been this season. But to not get anything from it, I think Fulham are slowly dooming themselves towards relegation, which is a shame because they are good. As Cal is back for the end of the stream. How are we doing, my friend? Hope you're all good, lad. Hopefully your football match was good. As we've had no 9 darters while you've been gone today, sadly. So yeah, if you get one, you're here for it at the least. And this has been a bit of a slow start, this game. Van den Bergh only averaging 88 right now. Jose de Souza 94.13. It has been a bit of a struggle. And well, what was being deemed as quite an exciting match is a bit of a slow burner. Well, they're saying that. De Souza here with a chance for a 180, which he gets, and maybe that will liven up the game now. And, well, George Noble is trying his hardest to do his distinctive 180 sound without making too much noise. It's the equivalent of having the DS under the bed without your parents knowing. He's keeping calm and cool and quiet. And as I said, I think it's because of the Prince Philip one tonight to why they can't have too much excitement going on. But De Souza with a chance to check out at 1-2-1. He's not going to be able to. And Van den Bergh will have a chance here to check out the 160. And he's miscounted again. It's a hat-trick of miscounts from De Souza, but it might be a happy accident. I mean, that's 3 miscounts now from De Souza. And literally, as Wayne Mardle's just said, just ask the referee and he can tell you what your score is. But he seems to trust in himself. And it might just be a happy mistake here if he makes it 3-1. So he's got 2 darts at double 16. And he hits it. And look, on other days, I said it literally yesterday, on other days, it could have easily cost him that there, Jose de Souza. And he's lucky that it hasn't. But he takes a 3-1 lead in this game now. Just ask the referee. That's all you need to do in that situation. Take the counting out of it for you. But look, he can continue on that. As Dimitri van den Bergh here is looking very flat. And with the way it's going right now, that 6-6 draw for Aspinall is actually going to cost me 300 quid. I'm pretty sure. Like, let me just get the stats up of the Aspinall match. Where is it? Give me 2 seconds. No, he wouldn't have actually. I would have lost anyway because Michael van Gerwen got the 148, so I would have lost. I had a match treble. As Dimitri van den Bergh gets a 180 on the board there. And now De Souza wants one of his own. And gets one of his own. That's 4 180s now. Maybe that might bring the game to life. 2 apiece now in this game. And now Jose de Souza is averaging 101. Dimitri van den Bergh averaging 95. So just a little bit of gap between the 2 averages. Which isn't bad, if we're being honest. It's just when you watch Van den Bergh, you expect a little bit higher. Which just shows how good of a player he is if we're saying 95 is poor. So Van den Bergh here up for 1-3-2. Jose de Souza at 106. 2 bulls and a double 16 required for the Belgian. Gets 1 bull. Gets 2 bulls. Go on. Double 16. Oh. That's a shame. That would have been a real opportunity there for a brilliant finish from Van den Bergh. And Jose de Souza now, if he can take out the 106, he will go 4-1 up. He's going to have 1 dart here at tops. And he gets it. And he's 4-1 to the special one, who's rolling with a brilliant performance against Van den Bergh. And the Belgian here is getting trounced. And I tell you what, if Jose de Souza here wins this game, then the Premier League table is looking absolutely unbelievable with how close the gap is. Dad's saying George is shouting the 180s. I wouldn't say he's shouting them. I wouldn't say that's shouting them. He's trying his best to keep a monotone voice without raising the noise too loud, but I guess it's very hard to keep the noise down. As Van den Bergh here starting with 100, De Souza at 405, and you feel at this stage that Van den Bergh needs to get the next leg on the board, or else De Souza could win this quite comfortably. Chris saying when you're on 150 you should only go for 3 bulls. Stop being cowards to take it out properly. You want a champagne finish. Can't remember the last time we had one. As De Souza looks to take a bit of a foothold in this sixth leg. Looking at the leg-by-leg averages right now, I mean, leg 5, 125 leg average for Souza, 117 for van den Bergh, but it's just slowly dropped down as the night has gone on for Dimitri van den Bergh. He's got a very healthy lead right now, Souza, and he's got exactly van den Bergh where he needs him to be. As Souza's down to 158, van den Bergh at 261. Souza's going to require 2 treble 20s and a double 15. But with van den Bergh getting 97, you would assume Souza might be okay here to maybe leave himself with a different checkout if he wants to. But he's going to go for it. Gets 1 treble 20. Gets treble 4. So he's not going to be able to check out here. And van den Bergh will probably need to check this out with Jose de Souza at 58. So a chance here for the highest checkout of the night. Treble 20, treble 18, bull. Gets the treble 20. Gets an 18. So there'll be no checkout for van den Bergh. But he will put de Souza under some pressure at 32. But you'd expect de Souza here to make it 5-1. He's got 2 darts at tops. And it's smack bang in the middle of the bed with tops there. And de Souza now 5-1 up on Nathan, not Nathan Aspinall, Dimitri van den Bergh, sorry. I don't think anybody would have expected that to have happened. As Chris says, look, I only put 9, van den Bergh 9 darts, I didn't actually put a winner. Well, I went match treble on Van Gerwen, Wright. And, no, sorry, it wasn't Van Gerwen, it was Aspinall, de Souza, and Clayton. Clayton got his. Of course, Van Gerwen won would have won in the end, regardless of had Aspinall won, because he didn't check out a higher score than Van Gerwen did. And as it stands, de Souza, I think he's in the lead. Let me have a look. The highest checkout of the game is, de Souza with a 106. Van den Bergh's only checked out 36. So, literally, Michael van Gerwen has cost me 300 quid. Shame on you, MVG. As de Souza smacks in another 180. That's 5 in the game. And he's averaging 105. And this is the 3rd night in the row where the Portuguese is averaging 100. And I mean, look, I sat there a few days ago and I said I don't think he can win this if he keeps making miscounts. And I still agree with that to a certain extent with what I said. But with the way he's been playing these last 3 nights, we know what he can do. We've seen it in the floor tournaments. He's a special player. But for those that maybe don't watch darts as much and haven't seen de Souza to a great deal, this man is brilliant and might be about to put himself back in contention with the rest of the pack for the top 4 fight. As de Souza here with a chance to make it 6-1 and guarantee a point. Treble 18, double 7. Gets a treble 1 instead, so he won't be checking out here. And Dimitri van den Bergh will have a chance to check out the 88 that de Souza couldn't. With treble 20, double 14. If not, then de Souza will be coming back at tops to guarantee a point. He will be coming back for a chance as van den Bergh hits the outer ball. So de Souza here, chance for tops with 3 darts for a 6-1 lead. It would be quite the comprehensive lead. First dart's a good marker. Can he make the most of the second dart? Hits the 20 with the second dart. And the third dart hits the 10. As Chris says, I don't like de Souza. You wouldn't have said that yesterday when he hit the 9th dart, would you, Chris? No, you wouldn't have. I don't like the fact that he makes too many mistakes on the miscount. I think that's, for me, the reason why I don't think he can win this. As van den Bergh makes it 5-2 and gets a leg back on the board with 9 and double 8. I just think that the problem is if you make too many mistakes like that, all of these players around him don't make that same mistake as much. You know, there'll be the odd player here and there that makes the miscount, but it's very rare. As Jose de Souza hits a 180 there to start off his 8th leg. That's 6 180s now. But van den Bergh here Might be about to get a 180 of his own. And does. And that's 7 180s in this game. Both players with 3 to start. And I mean, your 9 darter chance might be on. Although, that's 4 perfect darts. 5 perfect darts. Go on. Oh, you bugger. Could have had 6 there. And I thought for a second Souza might have had a chance for another one. Can Van den Bergh do it though? That's 4 perfect darts. 5 perfect darts? 6 perfect darts. Go on, here we go. Chris has put a £5 bet on for 200 quid for a Van den Bergh 9 darter. We saw Souza hit one yesterday against Jonny Clayton. We saw, not against Jonny Clayton, sorry. We saw he hit it against, I've literally lost the plot. I can't remember who he hit it against now, but 9 darter chance here for Van den Bergh. Gets the treble 20. Surely not. Oh. I don't know. Was he going for a 9 darter there? I mean, that was a party pooper. That wasn't it from Van den Bergh. I don't know what he was going for. It didn't look like a 9 darter chance, did it? Very, very strange from Van den Bergh there, who had a chance to go on and get something. And Carl says, in your opinion, would you say a player looks like they could win this so far, or is it way too early to tell yet? Yeah, way too early. As Van den Bergh makes it 5-3. Double 7. And he keeps himself in this game. But yeah, I think I would say it's way too early. I said at the beginning of this tournament, this is the most competitive Premier League I think we've ever had. Just for the class and standard of players. And with the way it stands, if Souza was to win, well, even now actually, 2 points separate first and 8th. So it's too hard to tell right now. I think it's looking to be a very, very good Premier League with how it's going so far. But Chris, you must be fuming. What was that for a 9 darter effort? Poor. I don't know what he was going for. Didn't even look like he was going for a treble 15. I thought he was going for tops. But he didn't in the end, as both players now averaging 100 in this game. And he's going to go for another 180 here, Dimitri. As Chloe says, Dimitri had so much hope there. I did. I thought we were getting another one. I thought 3 in a row. But nah, not happening, sadly. And Jose Souza here, chance for a 180, which he gets. And I mean, the 180s are coming out tonight, as we expected in this game. That's now 9 180s in this match. And as for the 180s between them, 5 for Souza. And now 4 for Van den Bergh. And these are debutants, remember. 104 average for Souza, 102 for Van den Bergh. And these guys have never played in the Premier League before. Crazy, isn't it? Absolutely crazy. Chris saying, come on, still more legs to go. There's still a chance. Piers asking in the chat, any idea what the table is looking like right now? I've only got the table for when the night started, but I think as it stands, Piers, Gary Anderson sat in 8th on... How many points would it be? Would it be 4 points? Let me have a check. Yeah, so Gary Anderson sat in 8th on 4 points. There is literally, I think, 2 points separating 1st and 8th as it stands. So it's crazy. As Chris said, had me jumping about, went on 1-4-1. Well, I was about to jump up myself there, but he just party pooper, innit? As there's a chance here for Van den Bergh to make it 5-4. Treble 19, double 10 needed. Gets a 19. Gets 18 for 1 dart at tops for 5-4 to make this game much more interesting. And he doesn't. So now a chance for Jose Souza to seal a point. And a big point it would be. And he's going to have to go for double 10. And he does. And he's a guaranteed point for Jose Souza. And now Dimitri Van den Bergh is going to have to win the next 3 legs on the bounce. Or else Jose Souza will take home what is no doubt the biggest 2 points of the night. It will put him right back in contention with the rest of the pack. As Souza now looking feisty. And that's another 180. It's 10 in this match. And the special one. How about giving us a 9 darter to end this match? That would be nice. Maybe Van den Bergh can go and have another chance of his own, which he's not going to be able to have, sadly. But that's double figures for this game. And Jose de Souza here in the driving seat to seal another big victory. That's 4 perfect darts. That's 5 perfect darts, I think. And it won't be a 6, so no chance for the 9 darter, sadly. But he is down to 2-2-1 after 6 darts. Crazy, isn't it? I think they've just said de Souza is averaging 100 for the entirety of the tournament. This man is unbelievable. As Pierce says, give us a 9, Jose. We wanted a 9 and we're not going to get it. Unless Van den Bergh can get a few more legs on the board and get him to go for it. But saying that, he's hit a 140. He's down to 81 here. And I think Jose de Souza is probably on course to win this game 7-3. And what a victory it would be. So treble 19, double 12 to seal the deal and claim a massive victory against the league leader, Dimitri van den Bergh. Bullseye. And he's not going to go for it. With Van den Bergh not on a finish. So he will come back with 3 darts at tops. And all Van den Bergh can do here is put some pressure on the Portuguese, which he's not going to do. And now a chance for de Souza to seal the deal. And what a moment this would be. The league leader at the beginning of the night against the second bottom, who's arguably one of the best players in the tournament. And he gets the 2 points even in that game against Dimitri van den Bergh. And the 2 debutants gave us the best game of the night, that's for sure. We had a 9 darter opportunity from Dimitri van den Bergh. But what a performance from Jose de Souza, who yet again averaged well over 100. And the special one, who only a few nights ago looked a little bit worried maybe about being at the bottom end of the table, now fires himself back into contention to get into the top 4. And my lord, this Premier League is unbelievable. The table is ridiculous. It's so tight. And when you look at the results over the night, a lot of surprise results across the board. I think you have to say Aspinall with that 6-6 draw, Gary Anderson dropping points, and now Van den Bergh dropping points as well, which means I think they're going to show us the table now on Sky Sports. Can roughly tell you how it's looking in comparison to how the night started. So the table as it stands is looking like this. Jonny Clayton is in first on 7 points. Van den Bergh, Aspinall, Michael van Gerwen and Peter Wright in that order have all got 6 points. 6 is Rob Cross on 5 points. 7th and 8th are James Wade and Gary Anderson, with Jose de Souza in the bottom 2 on 9 points, but he's only 3 points away from going to the top of the table. Glen Durrant sat bottom of the league on 0 points. That's how tight it is in the Premier League. And then, of course, they're going through the other games on night 6, which is a long way away, of course. Rob Cross coming up against Gary Anderson. Jose de Souza against James Wade. Jonny Clayton against Dimitri van den Bergh. Glen Durrant against Michael van Gerwen. And Aspinall against Peter Wright. So they're the games coming up on night number 6. But what a game that was between Dimitri van den Bergh and Jose de Souza. De Souza averaging 104.3 with 106 checkout being his highest and 50% checkout success on doubles. It was a brilliant performance on the night. And look, if you're Dimitri van den Bergh, you had a really good opportunity to get into a great position at the top of the table. And he hasn't taken it. And I mean, it makes this Premier League so much more interesting when we do come back in a few weeks' time. As Winvow's just joined us for the end. Hope you're all good, lad. He says, I'm in the USA for 3 weeks. Enjoy it, my friend. Have a good time over in America. And as P.S. Connery said, Judgment Night is going to be so good. I mean, we might already know Glen Durrant's down, but for the rest of the pack, I think that he's going to go down to that last night in terms of who goes on and gets relegated. And whoever does is probably going to get relegated with quite a good amount of points. It's not going to be light, and everybody right now is still in contention to drop down, which is what makes it so bloody exciting. And that's why we love darts. It's so good indeed. But let's just go over the results once again tonight. Gary Anderson in a 7-3 loss to Jonny Clayton. Really good performance for the Ferret. Peter Wright in a 7-5 win over Rob Cross. It was a really good performance with a new set of darts, as always, for Peter Wright. Michael van Gerwen in a 6-6 draw against Aspinall. Aspinall averaged 105. Michael van Gerwen, though, he clawed his way back into the game, and it was a really good point for the Dutchman. Wade with a 7-3 win over Glen Durrant. That means Durrant's leg difference is now minus 27 with 0 points on the board. And then we saw a few moments ago Jose de Souza in a 7-3 win over Dimitri van den Bergh. That is all of the action for the Premier League for the first set of games. Don't forget, we've got more content to come over the next few days on the channel. We don't just cover darts on here. We also cover a whole range of sports. This is a look at the week to come on the Sports Corner. Coming up this week on the Sports Corner, we've got a whole range of content, including wrestling based around WrestleMania, so do keep your eyes out on the channel for all of the content Rowan's uploading this week. And talking about Rowan, he'll be back on Saturday morning for Adelaide United taking on Western Sydney Wanderers on A-League Saturdays. Saturday night, I'll be live from 7:55 for El Clasico. It is going to be a fantastic game as the title race begins to get closer and closer. And then Champions League action on Tuesday, Chelsea with a 2-0 lead over Porto and PSG 3-2 up on Bayern, but who will win, we'll have to find out. Same on Wednesday night, Dortmund currently 2-1 down to Man City, and Liverpool 3-1 down to Real Madrid, who will come out on top with the second leg of quarter-final action coming up on Thursday. That's your week on the Sports Corner. So there's a look at some of the content to come over the next few days. Lots of football in action, as we said multiple times throughout the stream. We've got the Champions League, we've got the Europa League, we've got El Clasico on Saturday, we've got A-League mornings. They'll be back tomorrow with Rowan. So loads of content to come while the Premier League isn't on. And for those of you wondering, when are you going to be back with the Premier League? Well, this is how the rest of the tournament is looking. There is a 10-day break now. We'll be back on Monday the 19th of April from 7 o'clock for all the action as we get nights 6 to 8 underway. And then, the big moment that we'll all be waiting for, who are the two that are going to drop down? Glen Durrant might be one of them, but who's going to be joining him? Judgment Night is on Thursday the 22nd of April. That is a massive week in the Premier League of darts. We'll then have another break. That'll be from the 22nd to the 5th of May. And then we'll be back for nights 10 to 12 from Wednesday to Friday. And then we'll have another 2-week break where we'll be back for the final week of action at the very end of May for nights 13 to 16. And then on the 28th of May, of course, the night we'll all be waiting for, who's going to be lifting that Premier League trophy. We'll have to find out. That is on Friday the 28th of May, which feels like a long time away, but trust me, that will come round very, very quickly indeed. So overall, thank you so much to everybody that has been in the streams over the last week. We've only just begun. This is the beginning stage of the Premier League in what is going to be a long months, well, 2 months, isn't it, of action? Long 2 months of action where we don't really know what's going to happen. It's a tight table. There's so much more action to come. And hopefully you'll all be here, guys and girls, of course, to join me for that action in 10 days' time. But for those of you that maybe just come here for the darts, thank you so much for sticking around. We'll see you in 10 days. But for those of you that do stick around for the other sports, then do come back tomorrow. We've got Rowan with the A-League in the morning. Should be a good game for Western Sydney Wanderers. And then I'll be back for probably what should be my last watch along until the Premier League of darts. That will be El Clasico. What a game to cover on Saturday night. But as for now, don't forget to leave a like and a subscription if you're new. As always, we are pushing towards 2,100 subscribers on the channel. And we hope to see you again in 10 days' time. It will come round quicker than you know it. Good night.